morning. I'm Amy Burrows. Welcome to Sewing Quarter. It's lovely to have you here with us this morning. I'm back. I feel like I've been away for a couple of weeks. I've been on holiday and just doing some other work, but it's lovely to be back here with everyone today. And I'm joined by Lucy Brennan, who she just told me to say, please say I'm not an expert. She is an expert. We're talking all things quilting today, and we've got some really fun, fab, exciting projects to go through. So today is a bit of a celebration of one of our sister magazines, Love Patchwork and Quilting. It's their 50th issue that's out today, so congratulations to them. This is the magazine, and we've actually got a really fantastic offer on this today. We're offering a 50% subscription, so it's 50% off because it's the 50th issue. So this here is the magazine. If you head to our website, sewingquarter.com, we'll show you how you can buy that in just a second. But let's talk you through what's coming up on today's show. So here's the menu. At 8 o'clock is Lucy's sewing machine tips. So we're looking at the machine that Lucy actually has at home. It's the Elna 680. Then at 9 o'clock is a Marvellous mini quilt. At 10 o'clock is a quilted cushion. This is all with Lucy Brennan. And at 11 o'clock, we're loving Lucy. She's back doing a sewing machine cover, which she's already said she wants to take home because it fits her own machine. So we're loving that this morning. So we love to hear from you here at Sewing Quarter. We love you to get in touch, hear your messages, send in your pictures, any questions for Lucy. So if you want to do that, you can head to the website, which is sewingquarter.com. And if you head to the watch page, you can just see that on your screen there. And if you go to the live feed of today's show, so that will be up in just a second, there it is, you can see the menu. And if you just scroll down beneath that feed, you'll see a message the studio box. That's where you can get in touch, say hello, let us know what projects you're making, or if you've got any questions about the machine this morning, send them in for Lucy. And then also you can email us, studio@sewingquarter.com, if you want to attach a picture or send us a little snap of what you've made. Now underneath that, you'll see it's like one big shopping list of everything from today's show. So all of the products, those are yesterday's, they're about to disappear, and today's products they've gone, will start to be added to that, so you can add them to your basket that way. And I mentioned Love Patchwork and Quilting. This is the magazine here, but you can see just on the top of your of the website there's a sort of a strip across the top. If you click on that, it will show you how you can buy a 50% off annual subscription. So Patchwork and Quilting, Love Patchwork and Quilting do 13 issues a year. So this is for 13 issues. It's 50% off. So you also get a free gift with every issue. So I'll show you what you get with this most recent one. Let's have a look. This one here, you're getting, it's 32 blocks. So it's all about different ways of how to put together those blocks. You've got lots of pictures and also instructions. So you've got crosses, triangles, squares, stripes, all your different ones there. And as you go through, you can just see here on the back, you've got a really good sort of reference guide and instructions for those assemblies. And with every single magazine, you get a free gift. So you not only are you getting all that information, but you also get a little something extra bundled in there too. So we'll have a closer look at the magazine in a minute. We're actually going to head over to Lucy and look at the sewing machine that we're working with today. So let's go and see Lucy. Let's stop talking about the magazine and come and see you.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Are you all right?
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Early start train today.
Early start, early train, yeah. But nice conversation with people, so that's always good.
Yes, you were telling me about that. Yeah. So, if anyone doesn't know you, tell us a bit about so you actually designed for Love Patchwork and Quilting, don't you?
Yeah, I've done a few designs for Love Patchwork and Quilting. Started quilting a few years ago when the children were even smaller, and just completely fell in love with it. I've got quilters in my family, and I just couldn't stop making them.
Addicted?
Completely addicted, yes.
So what do you love about it? What do you love about quilting?
I think I love fabric. Just that's the starting point always for me, is the fabric. I love fabric. I love the possibilities. I love how many different techniques there are. So whether I want to do something quickly on the sewing machine or relax and do a bit of hand sewing, there's lots of different things, and you can mix them all together and tailor it to what mood you're in, really, I suppose, and what you fancy doing, or what. Yeah. Like you say, if you're inspired by a material sometimes or a fabric, it might be a smaller project or a bigger project, or you can it's all usable. It's all things that you can use. So even if you're making just a little patchwork bag.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Or
a lovely
pincushion,
gift, or a pincushion, or you know, and obviously quilts. Everybody in my house has
a
quilts.
quilt?
All my friends, family. You know,
Are you running out of people to give quilts to?
Yeah, that's it. And then charity quilts, and you know, you just can keep making and making and making. But it's useful, and it's comforting, and that's what I really like about it.
So you've been quilting for a few years. You had a basic machine. You've actually went for it, and you've gone for the machine. This machine. This is the one that you have at home.
This is the machine that I have.
And it felt like a big. Did that feel like a big sort of investment for you, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough that it was a birthday gift, but it is definitely I had a wish list of things that I was looking for in a new machine. The one I had before was a very basic, I mean, a really basic model. It wasn't designed for quilters. It, you know, didn't do a whole lot, but I did make a lot of quilts on it, and it was it was a good machine. But there were just things that I thought, oh, it would be easier if, you know, if I had this, it would make things much easier. So I had compiled a wish list of things that I wanted, and then
the Elna 680 actually has them.
Yes, we came and did a day, and we got to try out all the Elna machines that we have here, and I was nearly in tears. I'm not. I honestly, Jane says it all the time. I really was just. It was so incredible, and had everything and more that I was looking for.
And are there things that you can do on there that you didn't even realise were sort of possible on a machine? Is that what was it for you that sold it to you?
Yeah, definitely. Things that I couldn't do on my other machine, and just things that this one does a lot better. It's much quicker, smoother. You know, it just everything about it makes sewing easier. And so, even though my quilts were fine before, they're even better, because it is about those, the tools that you have and the right tools for the job. And obviously, I'm sewing every single day, and it's just
the experience,
wonderful.
The whole experience.
Yeah.
So this machine that we're talking about is the Elna 680. You'll see us still just on your screen there of it. This is the machine that we've got on set today. And Elna is also our home brand, so we always use Elna machines here at Sewing Quarter. So this is £999, and we're going to talk you through some of the different features and the things that you can do on that machine with Lucy, and obviously, you know, why you made such a jump from that basic machine, how you could, you know, justify that it is a lot of money, it is an investment, but if it's something you spend a lot of time doing and you get a lot of enjoyment from, can you justify it? You can justify it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can. And I think it's this machine is fabulous for quilting, and there's lots of things that it can do if you're a dressmaker or, you know, other things that I haven't, you know, even explored.
No.
Yeah, there's so much more that it can do. But one of the first things that was important to me was the throat space of the machine.
Yeah.
And if you look at this versus, you know, a standard domestic sewing machine, this has a much bigger throat space here, which means that if you're quilting a quilt, you've got more room to actually do your quilting.
For a bigger project, you've got more space to sort of be feeding that through the machine.
Yes, yeah. And then one of the things I didn't realise was actually this whole base part is slightly bigger, and so the distance you have between your foot and the edge of the machine is bigger as well.
Okay.
So that it just makes piecing more, you know, easier, because you've got this bigger sort of space. But this now when I look at a regular domestic machine, I'm like, how did I do quilts on that? Yeah, it's really incredible.
But also you've got more space here as well. You can extend it, so you've got more room.
Yeah.
So that comes with your machine. You know, I don't know if you can see that just here, but there's this extendable sort of table, so you've got more space if you're working on a particularly big project to feed that through.
Exactly, and it's just nice. Also, on the machine I had before, there was like a little ridge, and it would always catch, and it would sort of catch the seams and things on the patchwork. I always had to be really, really careful. Whereas this is lovely and flat, and then you just pull that section out and you attach the table
in there.
So you've got even more room, like you said, to do your
It's funny, isn't it, how you almost don't realise that little things like that, like you were saying, on your other machine, it caught every time, and you just sort of get on with it, and you think, oh, I must avoid that, but you don't realise that you don't have to have, that doesn't have to be your experience.
Exactly,
you know,
and you just get used to it and accept that that's
what
part
happens,
of the machine. But I did have a machine before that one, that I got from, say, like a catalogue shop, okay? That was really, really cheap.
Really careful.
Yeah, and that, from a catalogue shop, and I got that when I was a student, or maybe even when I was in high school, and that was the first quilt I ever made. I did on that machine, and then when I started quilting, it just died. It
wasn't
because it wasn't made.
No.
You know, to do so much sewing on. It was just sort of a general pottering about sewing machine. And then when it died, I was just so devastated. And then my mum gave me her machine, so that was the basic one I was using. It was a good brand, but it was just a basic sewing machine. And I was worried when I knew all the things that I wanted the machine to be able to do, which I'll mention as I'm showing the features. I was really nervous about having a computerised machine, and a lot of the...
Why were you nervous about having a computerised machine? What were you fearful of?
It's so silly, but because I knew in cars, if the computerised parts of the cars go, then that's really expensive to replace those things, and I just sort of thought,
it's the same thing.
Computers break down all the time, and they're it's not really reliable, and I'd rather be in control. And I don't, there are films about computers taking over. I just sort of thought I don't want a computer. I just didn't like it. I didn't want it all electronic. I wanted just to be able to do it myself. And so I was really terrified. And then I was talking to Jane about it, who just thought it was ridiculous. And she actually said they've never had a machine returned because of a computer malfunction or anything like that. So for them...
That's proof, isn't it, that there's not something that's going to trip you up, or that's going to, where you're going to have to send things back and
that's not a common, it's not a common thing that anything goes wrong with this at all. They've never had one returned.
Because this is computerised. So there's you can see here, I don't know if we can get this, but this machine is computerised. But what have you preferred it? Now you actually have that as an experience.
Yes, now I just think, what was I even thinking? No. I just don't know, and I've gotten really used to it. It is very, very easy to use. Obviously, you have an instruction manual that comes with the machine.
Yeah.
So there are certain things I might not do all the time. So I might need to look those up. So, for example, you can key in memory to create different designs. And if you're doing letters and things like that, you just select the stitches and you can put them program it into the memory. Yeah. And then it will just run that sequence of stitches that you want it to.
Yeah.
That isn't something that I use a lot. I have used it.
But then it's like anything, isn't it, with an instruction manual? And some people will sit and read a whole manual. Some people will just sort of dive straight in and hope for the best.
I'm a big reader of manuals, and I do like it for reference. So if there's something that I don't use all the time, it's very, it's easy to look up and go back. But
because you're not going to remember all of these. How do we open the? Where's the? Yeah. You've got 170 stitches in here, so you're not going to necessarily remember how where all of those are. But you've got that guide, you've got that reference, to sort of go to, and then you can just program those in. So you can just see here all of those different stitches.
And actually, I have used a lot of them. I didn't think that I necessarily would, but I do use and I really enjoy using the variation stitches. And I've been using them a lot for quilting, and I'll demo that in a little while. But I was really pleased with how many of those stitches I can,
utilise
I can use. Yeah, because a lot of people don't use all their stitches.
Because you've got sort of decorative stitches, haven't you? But then you've got so many font options and dressmaking stitches. You've got your buttonholes. You've got... What are the main ones that you use all of the time?
I use a lot of the straight... Obviously, I use the straight stitches. But what I really do love about this is that you very easily can move the needle position. So it has settings for straight stitches, but different sides. So 4, for example, moves your needle over to the left.
Yeah.
7 moves it over to the right, and then 6 is your 1/4 inch seam. So you're not even relying on the feet necessarily.
No, having to feed,
and you're not manually moving the needle, although you can. I did do that yesterday for something. I've forgotten what it was, but I did manually adjust the width to move the needle. But it's really nice just being able to go bum bum, and then.
Do you find as well already that, I don't know how long have you had the machine?
I think January or February.
And do you find already that you know those shortcuts, some of the ones that you're using all the time? You're just like, oh,
I just
7,
sit down,
6.
turn it on, put it on 6. That's my quarter inch, and I just can go for it. And I really don't have to think about that very much anymore. And then some of the other stitches, the decorative stitches, I've used a lot for quilting. I really like 1, 3, 19, 20.
Just every single number.
Yeah, I just love them all. Blanket stitch is great. And you've got different options within the blanket stitch. So some it's like a heavier, you know, it goes backwards and forwards more. So where the line is darker, it probably goes backwards and forwards. So that gives, it's like does sort of, 2 stitches rather than 1. So you can get a thicker look. And obviously then, you know, you can change your thread and use different threads and play about with that to get completely different looks. So I really, really like that. And then obviously it's got all these cute ones, which are nice.
Really lovely decorative.
Embellishing things.
And there are so many different fonts and, you know, for your numbers and your letters, all of these different options here.
Yeah, which I haven't really explored that, but I
suppose quilting-wise, unless you maybe pop a name on the bottom, you
put a name on it, and I think for quilt labels, that's going to be fantastic. Yes. But I haven't even had time to label quilts, so when I do, I'm going to have a go at doing that and labelling it. But even, you know, if you're a maker, if you're somebody that sells at craft stalls or things like that, to be able to put your name, you know, on the inside of a bag or something like that, you're not having to go out and buy
a label or get it printed. Or
no, you can do it yourself with your machine, so that's great.
And the machine also comes with, where is the... Oh, so we've got all of our feet here. We haven't got all of the feet here, I don't think.
No, some of them are in the machine. But, I'm going to show you that as well.
But there's storage in the front of the machine as well, isn't there?
Yes.
So we can show...
So you've got this panel here lifts up. So
it's like a little hidden.
Yeah, and it has these little... And they just pop out like that. And you take your foot out.
And there are a lot of feet that you get with the machine, aren't there?
Yeah, so this one is the special pin that you can put in the machine for sewing circles.
Oh, okay. That's an Elna exclusive feet.
That's an Elna exclusive, yeah. And there's a couple of different places you can put that to create different size circles. And then you have your normal foot, another foot. I think that's your rolled hem foot. That's your zip foot. And then your applique foot as well. Yeah. So those are in there, and it's all labelled, so you can put it. I'm a bit of a stickler. You can put them all back in the same place.
In the right one.
And you quickly, you know, I know if I'm doing applique,
straight to it.
I just can go straight to it and take that out. That's really easy. I'm afraid I don't know quite what they are.
We can look in the manual actually and see where the
M and D. I think D is rolled hem.
So it's a really sort of comprehensive instruction manual. There's so much. You know, you can use this as and when you need certain things. So like you said, if you want to use the fonts or something, you can go back and look at those and figure out. But
absolutely.
Just, let's find these different feet.
Oh, overcast foot.
An overcast foot. So there are, how many? We've got 8 different feet with the machine. But then you also get loads of other little accessories as well. So you've got, what have we got around here? Let's just move this over.
I've got some in here as well. So there's, there's more storage in the front part of the machine. So this section here just lifts down, and then you've got a little tray that you can store your other feet in. So there's, I'm not sure what that one is, if that's a quarter inch. No, that's, I don't know what that one is.
Let's see.
Something else.
A blind hemming foot?
G, yes, G, that's a blind hemming foot. This is another, it's like more of an open toe applique foot, so you get 2 applique feet with it, so that's F2. And the nice thing about having the open toe there is that you can see where you're stitching more easily, depending on what you're doing. And that little, whatever this little one is. Satin stitch, I think. Maybe.
This one here,
is no, T. Oh, yes, it's T.
Button sewing foot.
Button sewing, there you go.
So you can do 10 different buttonholes on this machine.
And there's the buttonhole.
To do that, there it is.
Thing. Look at me holding it like that. Ugh. I don't even, you know. But should I want to do it, should I need to do it, I'll look it up.
But what foot do you use the most? You're quilting, aren't you?
Yeah, I use the quarter-inch foot a lot because that's what I was used to using on my other machine. But I don't need to use the quarter-inch foot.
No, it's almost just a creature of habit. You just
I could use the regular foot if I wanted to. And sometimes I do. It depends. If I know I'm going to switch it up and do another stitch, then I might just put the normal foot on. So
where's the quilting foot? Was that one in the top or the bottom?
So so you've got different feet. Look at me going through. It's a bit strange. Sorry.
It's through that extra big space. That's why you want the extra big space.
Hanging out.
Just lean on your machine.
So you've got different feet for quilting.
You can
So
move them around, that's
you've
fine.
got a couple of free motion feet. This one is adjustable, so you can adjust the height and things with that one. But I tend to use this one, which is the one I'm more familiar with, and this one has a clear toe. So that makes it really nice for doing free motion quilting.
Because you can see what's
Because you
what's
can
going
see
on.
it, and I'm going to be doing a bit of free motion quilting later on.
11 o'clock, I think, or 10.
One or the other, 10.
10.
10. And then you also get the walking foot, which is just my go-to, love it, for straight line quilting or slightly wavy quilting, things like that. And that has the feeds on the bottom, so that helps
To
your
pull it
fabric
through,
to pull
yeah.
through.
So these can be really expensive to buy separately, can't they? This is obviously included with your machine. And like you say, it becomes your go-to, foots, doesn't it?
That's definitely one that I use a lot, and then the free motion if that's what I'm doing.
And if you're working with different fabrics as well, this is a really good way to keep that even feed through the machine, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to worry. It prevents like puckers in your fabric and things like that.
Keeping it nice and flat.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And then obviously you've got the screwdriver for changing, and that you need this for changing the feet and also the needle.
Okay.
So it's important. And you get a little
brush.
Seam ripper.
You've got a seam ripper and there's a brush
Seam
as
ripper.
well.
There is a brush because there's more storage in the machine. Oh, you get a spare spool
cap.
There you go.
Yeah, it's spool
Maybe
cap.
that's
I think it's
what
spool
it is.
cap.
You actually get a couple of those, and you have another spool extendery bit that comes with the machine as well. So if you open out, slide off this section, you've got. I normally keep my brush in there, but I think it's disappeared. So you can keep little bits in there, but only the things that are very flat because it's got to slide under. But under here, there's another plate for the machine as well, and these are just for the straight stitches.
Right.
So you can replace the plate on your machine if you're just doing straight stitches, and this helps stop the fabric from being eaten. So sometimes people have called in and say, how do you stop the corners of your fabric being eaten by your machine? This will help prevent it.
But you just are using that for straight stitches more.
So you're just using that for straight stitches.
And is that easy to change and pop it?
It's very easy. It literally, under here, there's just a little button at the bottom here. Can you see that there? Let's see. So you just, I'm doing it with my thumb, push that, and that pops up. I shouldn't have done it with the foot on, really. And then you just can take it off.
And then just replace the next one.
Yeah, and then you just place it in. And then the bobbin case is nice. The bobbin case comes out, and it has a little red guide that shows you. It's got a little arrow in there that shows you how to put the bobbin case back in.
Oh, just in here. I don't know if you can see if we can get that on a close. Just in there.
The red marking.
Here it is.
So there's so there's a little red arrow on this part, and there's a little red arrow there, so you know to line those up. So sometimes, people can be afraid of using their sewing machines and of going into it, and they don't want to mess anything up.
More for fear of doing something wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But they wouldn't put that easy button there.
No, if you weren't meant to get to it.
If you weren't meant to be able to get to it. So it's very, very easy. And then that just pops out. The black bobbin case just comes out. You can clean all in there. That's why it comes with a brush, so you can dust inside your machine very, very easily. And then you just replace the bobbin back, and then you just slide the plate under the foot. It just clips in on that side, and then you just push down, and that's it.
Great.
So it's really, really simple. On most normal domestic machines, like the one I had before, you had to get your screwdriver out, and sometimes very fiddly to get to the area that you need to get to.
Actually doing it, isn't it? I think if a job if it's going to take, I don't know why, but maybe we're a bit lazy. But if anything's going to take a bit of time, I think, oh no, can't really be bothered.
And I think also people think if you've got to unscrew it, then you aren't supposed to go in there. Whereas that's not actually the case.
That button is.
Just trap my thread in there. That was a bit silly. Let's get that out.
If anyone's got any questions for Lucy this morning as well about her experience with the machine, or certain elements of it, why she likes it, why she chose it, why she's okay with the fact it's computerised, now fully on board with that. Remember, you can send them in on the website or email us studio@sewingquarter.com, and Lucy can answer those for you. So we've also got some other storage options, not just on the machine itself, but we've got some different storage options. Now this, when Jane Brogan came in, who's from Elna, and she was talking about an embroidery machine a couple of weeks ago on the show, and she had one of these, and I was like, it looks like a donut. What have you got there? And now we've got them in. I said, we need to get these. We don't have them on the show. So this is a bobbin holder. It's a bobbin ring, but you can just pop all your bobbins in here, and it keeps them really snug. It's a rubber ring, not a rubber ring like you would use in the sea. Imagine if you had to try and get in there.
Don't take that on your holiday unless you're taking sewing with you.
But this is a rubber ring, so you can pop all your bobbins in there. It keeps them nice and tight together, but obviously you can see them really clearly displayed. It's going to stop them unravelling, stop them tangling. And also the great thing about this is that you can shrink it to the size of your bobbins. If you drop this into boiling water, it actually sort of shrink fits to a smaller bobbin size. So, you know, I know some machines use a slightly smaller bobbin, don't they? So just making sure that they fit to that. But really great as well, once the bobbin, I haven't got one to show you, but once they're in there, they're really secure. You don't have to worry about them sort of emptying out in your bag, and just a really great way to transport them to, we got one, there she is, she's on it, to transport them to classes. But you literally can just pop them in like that, obviously arrange them all the way around the edges, and then create a rainbow donut or a rubber ring.
That's what I have. Because I got one, because in the classes, the lady I teach were raving about them.
Yeah, this is what Jane did.
A lot of sewers I know do use them. And I thought, oh, really? It's like just a ring?
It's just a bit of plastic, rubber. Yeah.
But actually, it's so brilliant. You can fit so many bobbins in. I've got them all arranged in a rainbow.
And so hands in ombre.
So I can really easily see. And I've just got that. You know, just take that with me. It's nice and small. It's convenient. It sort of looks cute.
Yeah, it does. Once it's got everything in as well, it'll be a bit more colourful. Because I said to Jane, oh, I haven't seen one of these. What is it? She sort of explained. She said, don't you have them on the show? And I was like, no. And straight onto our sort of our buyers. Like, why do we have these?
Yeah. What I really love is because the bane of my life is like bobbins unravelling, bits of threads everywhere, and you just tuck it in and make sure that the end of the thread goes down in it. And it doesn't come out. It's just
secure,
stuck in there. And so it keeps that thread nice, so you've not got all bits of bobbin thread
hanging all around.
Yeah.
So the item number for that is JAPH17, and that's £9.95. We've got some questions, though, regarding the bobbin. So let's have a look. Will the bobbin holder fit the Elna bobbins as they are deeper?
Yes.
This is an Elna bobbin, isn't it? Yeah, it does. So this is an Elna bobbin in there now. So
I have my Elna bobbins. And this, because it does come with this lovely, I know we're talking about that, it does come with this one. I did take them all out of mine and put them in the donut. But that's the, with this machine, you get these special easy, I don't know the right word for them, but it just means that spins nice and easy. It's smoother. And these are the bobbins, the special bobbins that come with the 680, but they fit in there perfectly. Well. Yeah.
So people do sometimes ask if you can get these separately. They just come with the machine. You can't buy it on your own. But you can just pop. But yes, and these bobbins do fit in there, nice and snug, and then they're not going anywhere. So there's another bobbin storage option aside from the one that comes with the machine and the donut. So we've got this one here, which is more of a box. So it's like that Elna one, but this is a 32. Bobbin holder. So this is sort of a clip lid on the top there, you can see. Obviously lovely that it's clear, so you can see straight in, you can see all your colours and arrange them in there, and you know exactly where everything is. This is from Prim, and then you've got all of those. If I pop, it's really sort of nice quality. You can pop all of your bobbins in like that. So whichever you prefer, and this is probably a more traditional sort of holder, isn't it, really? It's,
yes.
You know, but again, great for transporting bobbins to classes or to workshops or in a bag. You can keep all of your colours together and line them up there. So that one's £4.45, PUPH79, and 32 bobbins in that one. So some different options for your bobbins this morning.
Because if you sew a lot as well and you're using lots of different colours, if you're a quilter, you might be the different quilts, you want different colours to quilt them with. So I use all the ones that I use the most often in my donut, which is full, but anyway. And then any extra ones or any colours that I'm going to use and I know I'm not going to use again for a while. I'd put them in the box. So then you've got all they're all kept nice and safe, and they're not going to get dust on them or anything like that.
How many bobbins do you think you have?
I don't know. I would not. I don't even want to say, because I hate unwinding bobbins as well. So I only do that if I have a very, very small amount of thread. Well, no, even then I don't really. I just use it up. But it's really frustrating when your bobbin runs out. So before I start quilting, I wind a load of bobbins in that colour.
So you've
whatever
got
colour
it
I'm using,
ready
so
to
that
go.
I've got it. Yeah, and then I can just use those. And I keep, because I use a fine weight thread in my bobbin, so I keep pre-wound bobbins of that thread in there,
so you can pop them
so
straight
that they can just go straight in there. Yeah.
Lovely. So that's the bobbins. We've also got a spool rack. So if you want, you can see that on the desk here. So this has all been arranged beautifully. I don't even want to move it in case but you can stand it upwards. This one here has been laid down, but it actually, the base of I don't know why we haven't got the legs of this.
I think they're in it. Are they not in it?
No.
No. Oh.
But, no, hang on. You're right. I think they're... I don't want to, but you can lay that down if you want to.
I don't want to. It goes everywhere.
Put 60 spools all over the place. But you can lift this up, and it sort of stands up as a rack like that. So it's great for putting in a cupboard. You can open you can have those all arranged or on the side in your workspace or on a desk. But also, if you wanted to put them in a drawer, you can have that as a sort of a flat option, and you can really visually see all of your spools lined up on there. There's 60 that you can fit on that one. MPGQ 43, and that's $19.95. And also, this is just a really lovely sort of neutral plastic. It's not going to catch on anything, but because it's not wood, you're not going to get any sort of like splinters or catching of the threads on there. It's a nice, simple, straightforward, but lovely way to arrange them all so you can see them easily accessible. So we've had an email in. Who's this one from, Hannah? From Geraldine. Morning, Geraldine. She says, morning, Lucy and Amy. Morning, Geraldine. She likes your haircut.
Oh, thank you.
Good.
I'm getting used to it.
Sorry, what was that, Hannah? Oh, please can we go through how to attach the walking foot?
Yes,
we can
great
do that,
timing, because that's just what I was
or
going to do.
Foot, whichever one you prefer.
So,
thank you for messaging in.
I'm going to use the walking foot because I'm going to use the free motion one later on. So, I mean, it's really simple and just very similar to, another machine or one that you're familiar with. So, you can drop the foot off just with this little lever at the back. So you just press that in, and the foot drops off there. You put it away in your drawer in whichever section it goes in, and then you just use your little screwdriver. There's a nice big screw on the side, and you can just unscrew that. I tend to just unscrew it to a point where I can just do it by hand because it's quicker. And then you just take that section off, keep that somewhere safe. And then the walking foot has a bar on it, and it's really important that this bar goes over the top of this part here. Okay? So when you attach the walking foot, it just slides on, and the bar rests on top of that metal piece there. If that doesn't rest on the top of there, the walking foot can't do its job properly.
Right.
So it needs that for this, because this moves up and down as you're sewing, so that then this moves up and down, which moves the
So it gives it some leverage to sort of be able to move.
So that you've got that even feed as you're sewing. And then you simply just screw that back in. So I do it mostly by hand, and then just to finish it off and tighten it up, I just use the, just use the screwdriver there to get it.
That final bit.
Oh, it's not in properly. Oh, look at me. Because I was looking at it back to front. So you want to get it right in so that the feet at the front are attached over.
So the main thing is making sure that little, what did you call it?
The little bar up here is going
top.
over the top of that screw bit. I'm so technical, look at me.
And then the thing is, that's how all of us, the majority of us, don't speak in technical language.
It's the screw bit there, that bar needs to go over the top. And then at the front, that claw bit has to go round.
Yeah.
The front of that bit, and then
it's quick,
that's
straightforward.
So you just want to tighten that up with your screwdriver, and then while we're here, I'll just show you that the bit I'm talking about, the bar has to go on, is the screw for your needle. So on this side here, if you unscrew that, that's how you're going to change your needle. Okay. So on this side, that's the screw to change the needle. Okay, so you can even,
so this side
just
is for
check
the feet.
that's tight.
It's for taking feet on and off. This side is for the needle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
That's it. So then keep those safe there. So the other thing I love about this machine is that it has automatic tension. So I don't know if we can see.
If someone doesn't know, what does that mean? What is automatic tension?
Okay, so the tension is the relationship between your top thread and your bottom thread.
Yeah.
So you will need to adjust your tension depending on the type of thread that you're using. So either up or down. And you've got discs inside your machine that hold your thread. So they can either hold it very, very tight, or they can be a bit looser. So if you've got a thicker thread, you might need to loosen it off. It just depends and varies on your machine. And that's why I always recommend people just do a little bit of a test with a scrap piece of fabric just to see. And you look front and back to make sure that your stitches are nice and even. There is a description about that in the
guide.
In the guide, and it will tell you how to adjust. It shows you the different problems that you can encounter.
Yeah, I was going to say, how would you tell
stitches and things like that?
If the tension was wrong, what's the obvious? What screams out at you when you look at it to know, oh, it's the tension that's wrong in that?
Anything where if it's sort of loopy or anything like that, that's often your tension. Although sometimes that's just not putting your foot down. That's happened to me before. Anywhere where it's loopy, the thread, your bottom thread showing up on the top, or the top thread showing up on the bottom, then you need to
have
adjust.
A rejig.
Yeah, have a rejig. Or even if you sew a lot, if it just doesn't feel right when you're sewing, and then. But it's always worth checking the back, doing a test and checking the back to make sure, because there's nothing worse than quilting
the whole thing,
and then you turn it over and you go, oh,
yeah,
it was off, or the bobbin wasn't threaded correctly, or whatever that might be.
So what benefit was automatic tension?
So you've got the automatic tension, so you don't really have to think about it.
So it does it.
Does it itself.
So all of that worry we just spoke about, whether it's it's checking that for you, it's checking.
Yeah, so that's just doing it for you, although the machine doesn't know what thread you're using.
Okay.
So don't be afraid. It's just a dial. It's very easy to move and change your tension. But for the most part, unless when I've been quilting with a very fine thread, in fact, I think it was only the finer thread. I think the thicker one I did was okay, but if I'd gone any thicker than that, I think I would have had to adjust it. But I've literally done it once, and I've had it all these months. I've just left it on auto. And then also here you have a dial that's your foot pressure. So the standard for that is 5, but that just means you can raise or lower your foot. So you only really need to worry about that if you
had something bulky that was going through.
Yeah, if you're having something very bulky, or if you were doing free motion quilting, you might want to adjust that, but that's it. Okay, something else I really love, I've just remembered.
We just keep going, there's another thing.
I know, but this is a really small thing, and not necessarily a reason to buy the sewing machine, but it's like an added coolness to it.
Cool, we like cool.
Yeah, the bobbin. So the bobbin, when you're winding a bobbin, so you would move the thread around this way. It's got a little diagram on there. It's very easy. You put the thread in the bobbin. You click the bobbin onto the post and you move it to the side. It automatically knows that the bobbin's there, so you don't have to pull anything else out or flick any switches. No. It knows that you're winding the bobbin, and then you just go ahead and wind the bobbin. And then when you finish, you pull it back, and there's a little thread cutter there.
So you haven't even got to do it.
So you've not got to get it, or scissors, or just. I'm so lazy. So
when you discover little things like that, it's like
and you just go, oh, it's wonderful. And because I'll wind a lot of bobbins before I start quilting, I'm just dun, cut it off.
Get a system
so
going.
Quick and easy to do. Yeah, and it winds bobbins really, really fast, which I also love. So this wasn't something that was on my list of features. But it's a nice added.
It's funny, isn't it? I always think it's actually the little things in life that make you be
and it shows you how well thought out. And if they've thought of those small details, they've just smashed all the general things. Yeah, because they've really thought of everything. Absolutely. So I'm going to get to quilting.
Let's use
1 second. But one other thing I want to point out is the speed control, and this was on my list because I am quite a full force sewer. So I do sew very, very quickly. But there are times when you want to slow down. So free motion quilting is one that I need to slow down when I'm doing it. But also, if you're doing something delicate or you're turning corners or something, you don't necessarily want to be
at full speed.
pedal to the metal or whatever that saying is. That I don't know. But I just naturally tend to do that. So it's really nice to have that ability to just slow myself down, but I still can put my foot down on the pedal because that's what I'm
going
used
to be, you know, limited to a certain speed if you've pulled that back.
If I've pulled it back, so...
And it's a tortoise and a hare.
It's a tortoise and a hare, but it's also quite nice. I was sewing with my daughter the other day, and it just meant I could slow it right down.
Bring it back.
And it was... She's only 4, you know.
She's 4?
But, yeah,
so
the littlest is only 4. So
oh, my goodness, Lucy, that's amazing.
So we were doing that. Well, it's end of terms coming up as well, so might have been sewing special things. So she, you know, so she could do it without me being fearful of the fabric getting away from her, and you know, obviously supervised, and she's on my knee, but you know, it was just nice to have that. And then she just could not stop playing with it. Let's do, you know, no, let's do the tortoise. No, let's do the head, you know, and she just loved.
What was she
being
making?
able to play about with that.
Can we know what she was making?
Yeah, because her teacher should be teaching
she
her
be
right
school,
now.
So,
We're doing a cushion.
Yeah.
She's drawn a picture of her and her teacher and rainbows and flowers and things
so
on a
sweet.
piece of fabric, and then we're bordering it. So we're just doing a little bit at a time, but we're just adding borders, and that's going to be a cushion.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Can you put a picture? Can you you'll put a picture on social media?
Picture when we're finished. We haven't finished. So quilting. So I'm just going to do walking foot, you know, quilting, and we can use some of the decorative stitches with our walking foot. So to start off, I'm just going to do a straight stitch. Now, when I'm quilting, because it's automatic, it automatically sets your stitches for you.
Okay.
So when you're quilting, you know, you can decide, do you want a longer stitch or a shorter stitch? If I'm doing very dense quilting, I'd probably go smaller, and if it was just, you know, regular straight line quilting, I might just want to go bigger. And then the width, that's just it set to the centre.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily do anything about
that. That's what we were saying with those numbers. If you wanted to shift it over, then you can to the left or right.
You can just shift it over. But you can go really, really fast.
Touch it, like...
Yeah. And this was, I haven't actually basted this, so...
and there's, well, you've got 3 layers there.
Yeah. Oh, I've got 3 layers. But it just really quick and evenly, and all the stitches are beautiful.
Look at that. People might be like, why are we showing a straight stitch? But
I know,
just showing
but
how quick and easy that was,
it is quick
and easy to do.
You know, it is really quick and easy. And I do a lot, and you can get a lot of interesting designs with straight stitches. So you don't have to use the fancy stitches on the machine. And then, do you want to pick one?
Yes, let's have a look. What, one of these, like, decorative ones?
Yeah, any.
Let's do, can we do number 4?
Number 4, yeah. Oh, 4's really nice. So to switch to the decorative stitches, you need to change modes. So all the modes are outlined in this darker blue.
Okay.
So you've got 5 different modes. So we're going to do number 4, and that's in mode 2. So I just press mode, and that changes it to...
Oh, so it would automatically move them along?
2, yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Because if I was in mode... Oh, let's just put it back. If I was in mode 1 and I press 4, that's...
this 4?
Yeah, just moved my needle to the left. So you just change the mode, and then you have to do 0, 4.
Yeah.
And that's changed it to that. And then it has an automatic width and stitch length again, but you can adjust those if you want to. So some of the stitches, you can't make them go bigger.
No, but you can customise most of those stitches, not only, you know, choosing the stitch, but you could make it longer or shorter.
Longer or shorter. Yeah. So I might... Oh, no, I can't make that any longer. So that's 2.5 is the longest it goes. So it will tell you, it will beep at you if it doesn't like it. But I can make it smaller. I just can't make it any bigger than that. But they all vary. So just remember to drop your foot, because it's quite hard to see when you've got the walking foot. And then... And with the decorative stitches, obviously, you don't need to use the walking foot if you're just...
you just use a regular?
Yeah, you can just use the regular foot. And actually, even with quilting, I've done decorative stitches with the regular foot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even with those... Oh, with
layers? But only when I'm doing it in a smaller section. If I'm doing it in a larger section, then I would use my walking foot, because I know that it's going through... You know,
pulling it through.
And then
this is pretty.
and then you can just stand and chat, and the machine just
just
does all the work for you.
Metal?
And then I'll switch to another one. So I've done some of these before, you know, to show it sort of looks like
a plait.
Yeah, it looks like water and things. Okay, there are some you can't do with your walking foot if it has to go backwards.
Oh, okay,
because it doesn't like it because it's got that feed in it. So you just want to try and stick with ones that are, it will go a little bit backwards, but it can not always look so.
So what's another walking
so great?
These are so intricate, aren't they? All of these ones.
Yeah,
here.
those are really detailed.
Really
these aren't
beautiful.
great for quilting because they can sort of pucker the fabric up a little bit.
So more for dressmaking.
You can
do, add detail to
or I'd do it on the quilt top and then layer it and quilt it. Yeah, they do. I say that, but you probably can. You need to just have a play about and experiment. Yes, exactly. So another one that might be nice.
There's too many options.
So many. I know. I just look. I love them all. I really like the cross stitch ones, but I'm not sure I can do that with the walking foot.
When you first got your machine home, is it that when you get something out the box? I always think at Christmas the best presents, but toys are the best present because you've got something, or technology, you've got something to do, like something to, more than clothes or something like that. When you got this home, this was a birthday present you said, didn't you? Were you just like,
yes, yeah, it was really, and I just couldn't wait, and I just
get it out of the box.
Yeah,
and
just started doing it. So I put it in the wrong mode when it was doing something funny. I'm going for more of a zigzag one.
Okay.
And this is...
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it looks really, really pretty. And some of them are more...
It's like shelves.
Yeah, even some of the ones that you would use maybe for dressmaking and things actually can look really nice as quilting stitches. So even if you can look and see, what the name of the stitches are, don't be put off if it's something like a utility stitch, because you still can use those
as a decorative, or is it? Yeah.
And then, hands down, one of my favourite things is that it cuts the thread for you. So you just press the scissor button.
Should we watch it do that again?
Yeah. So if I'm doing, say I was just quilting a small section, and when you do a decorative stitch, it does a locking stitch to start off with. And then say I've got a seam line, and that's where, I want it to end.
So that's going to cut it.
I can do a locking stitch, so it'll do the last one.
Yeah.
It'll do the locking stitch, and then...
No, scissors. So just done.
And it's not, so it doesn't leave any thread on the front whatsoever, and just two little tails on the back. So you just trim those off.
That's great.
And that's it. So that, that really saves a lot of time.
Like you were saying about the little cutter on the top by your bobbins. Like, if you obviously you've got all your bobbin things, but it's those little details that just make the day-to-day experience so much easier. Could you go back to your old machine?
No.
No. Please don't make me.
I mean, I could, I could. And I teach classes, so I'm using all different... all different machines.
We have different Elna machines, I suppose, on set.
Yeah, and I am actually going to say something. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. There are similar brands, where the machines cost a lot more, and this one does everything that one could. There might be some other things, but everything I need from that very, very expensive machine, this one does.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy that this was what I we got this one rather than one that maybe does singing and dancing things I don't need.
It has everything you need and more. You probably don't even use half the capability of the machine, because I doubt there are many people that do use. If you use every single thing in this, then fantastic. Yeah. But you probably don't. You have things that you regularly have a go-to. Go-to.
And it's nice to have them, but I see people spend an awful lot of money, and they're only using and utilising the things that this machine has.
Yeah.
So I think that says a lot.
Yeah. No,
actually.
Absolutely. The fact you actually have the machine, I think, speaks volumes. It's not. You're not trying to tell us about something. This is actually something that you.
This is actually what I use and love doing. And as someone that was terrified of this
computer,
I've got used to it so easily. It's very, very user friendly. It it isn't complicated. There are complicated things to it, and things that you might want to adjust when you start off. That you can set it. Another nice feature is you can set it to be slower when you begin sewing.
Oh, okay.
So that it will just go a little bit slower, and then it will speed up. or you can turn that off.
So you could ease yourself in a little bit.
So you can ease yourself in, and sometimes that is quite nice because you just want to, you know, get your hand position right and whatever, and it's just a bit more gentle. So there's little things like that if you read through the instruction manual, which I encourage people to do. You know, I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't have read the instruction manual. But that's a really nice feature that it's got that option should I want to. So I'm just going to do some hearts for fun.
So we're coming to the end of this.
Do you want to show this one that Angela did while I'm doing that? Look, I'm like one-handedly.
Shall I have a look? Show you. These were just some of the stitches. Did Angela do this?
Angela did that one, yeah.
Angela did these, but these are some of the stitches that you can do on the machine. There are so many different options. You can see, I don't know if you've got. I love this sewing quarter one. That's really cool. All different decorative stitches there. All done on this machine. Look at this little one at the bottom. Little houses and trees. Really lovely.
I'm just going to cut that off. I'm not even sure if it had finished.
But
look
that's
how
pretty.
Cute it is.
I love that you just
almost looks like sideways. That's Pac-Man.
It actually says, shall I show you it this way?
You know,
look.
a computer character.
It actually is.
It does look like Pac-Man. So,
it
could be a leaf as well.
Yeah.
It could be a leaf, but that way it looks like hearts. So, you know, all those things are really fun, and that's great. You know, additional extra things. But the other thing I really love is how quiet it is. It's really quiet for somebody that does a lot of sewing and a lot of sewing at night. To not be disturbing my family or my neighbours or anything, you know, is amazing because my other machine sounded like a battering ram.
Someone taking
it was just awful. Yeah. So it's really nice to have, you know, to have it be quiet, and it is a real workhorse. It does, you know,
you're doing a lot of sewing.
I'm doing a lot. I'm doing it fast.
Yeah.
And it's just a dream to work with. It really, really is. And because I'm doing, you know, patchwork and things throughout the day, I'll really talk about some of the different feet and the different ways that you can use the machine as well as we go through.
We're using this all morning. But we've had another question as well, so let's see. Let's see. Yeah, and also any other questions throughout the day. Lucy's here all morning today. She's going full out, aren't you? Every single hour. So any questions, just send them in, let us know. Let's see. So we've got, can we do alphabet largest size? Please do alphabet largest size. Oh, that's from Sheila. Morning, Sheila. And she said, great demo. So thank you. Let's see if we can just do that for you. Just to sort of see the size of the font that you can do on there.
I will do an A.
For
I haven't done alphabets.
Okay.
So this is just, yeah. I'm guessing that this is the largest size because I can't increase it anymore. The other thing to mention is that the foot is slightly wider. So you've got 9 millimetres versus whatever the standard size foot is. So you can cover more of a distance. So that's the largest.
There you go.
Capital A.
I'll just show you that one there so you can see.
Oh, that isn't the largest though. That's the largest in that mode. I've just found another one that's bigger. Hang on, so I'll do that.
I think we can quickly whiz it through.
Yeah. So that's the largest in one mode, and then there's another mode, which I'm guessing...
There are 6, no, there are 4 modes, aren't there?
Don't you think that's what that means? It's a bigger one.
That looks bigger to me.
Look, this is how much attention I've paid so far to my... Oh, look, that is much bigger, isn't it? I was looking at it thinking, I'm sure it can go bigger.
Like you said, perfect for labels if you're a crafter. That's much bigger.
There you go. Let me trim off that so you can see the difference between them. So it does a locking stitch for each letter as well.
That's good. Let's see there if you can see. 2 different size options for you, Sheila, this morning. I hope that answers your question for you.
So
yeah, you could easily.
That's where I got it wrong. And that's the one that is the biggest one. Yeah.
Okay. So, Lucy, really quickly, in 30 seconds, 3 favourite things about the machine.
Oh, my gosh.
I've got to put you on the spot.
3 favourite things. Speed control, the throat space, and the... I would say automatic cutting, but actually I think storage.
Storage.
Because it's quite important to me. And I do use a lot of the different feet. So I don't have to go somewhere else to get the feet out. Everything's in that machine. I love this little, you know,
Caddy.
flip up. There it is. Yeah. It's so easy to organise. If you wanted to switch those up, you could do.
Yeah.
Some of them are narrower, but you could play about with that. And they stay in when you flip them. I mean, it's just so well thought out.
Okay. Lovely. Well, we're using the Elna 680 all morning, so Lucy can carry on pining after her machine. It's all good. So this, you can see it there on your screen. VKJE90 is your item number for that one. And also, you're only going to pay £2.95 postage and packaging, despite the fact it's a big, heavy, bulky item. That's still only going to be £2.95. So that's your Elna 680X, and we're using that all morning today. So you've got all your different technical features there. You've got the LCD touchscreen. It's obviously computerized. Lots of different feats coming with that. You've got your accessory box. Any questions throughout the day, just get those in for Lucy, and we can look at those as we're going through our different projects this morning and answer those for you.
I should say as well, it comes with a stylus for touching the touchpad thing. So in the top
so
you've got a little pen, so you can...
Like you can use sometimes on a phone.
So that's what you're meant to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyone that has got a machine in their basket, we would just encourage you to check that out. It's obviously it is a really popular machine, and Elna's our home brand, the ones that we always use here on the show. So Lucy's back in the next hour, and we are doing is it the cushion, 9 o'clock?
No, we're doing the rulers.
Oh, no, the rulers. We've got really cool rulers. We'll be back in 3 minutes. See you in a sec.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love. This month, Love Patchwork and Quilting magazine are celebrating their 50th issue, and we're marking the occasion with a quilting extravaganza. Join us on Wednesday the 19th of July for a morning of shows dedicated to all things quilting. The Love Patchwork and Quilting team will be taking over the studio to showcase some exciting projects, must-have tools, fabulous fabrics and top tips. With special guests such as Lucy Brennan and an incredible half-price Love Patchwork and Quilting subscription offer, this quilting special is a real must-watch. So whether you're looking to expand your mind or just your fabric stash, tune in on Wednesday the 19th of July from 8 AM to 12 noon, only on Sewing Quarter Freeview Channel 78.
When you spend £10 on your first purchase, you will receive this free sewing kit from the Sewing Quarter worth £14.99.
Did you know there are multiple ways you can contact us, even if it's just to ask a question? Our friendly team are always on standby. You can call our customer service team at 0800 112 4433, email us at help@sewingquarter.com, visit our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter @SewingQuarter, and even message us through our website, and our presenters will answer your questions live on air. Christmas is coming early to Sewing Quarter Studio, and we're eagerly awaiting the arrival of a very special visitor. As part of our Christmas in July series, Mandy Shaw will join us on Saturday the 22nd of July for 2 fun-filled shows packed with project ideas. Among Mandy's seasonal delights is this adorable reindeer decoration, as well as a festive mouse trio. What's more, if you visit our Facebook page after the shows, you can catch a live Q&A with John and Mandy at 12:30 p.m. Mandy will answer your questions and give us the lowdown on her forthcoming workshop at the Festival of Quilts. So join us for Mandy's Retro Christmas on Saturday the 22nd of July, 8 AM and 10 AM, only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
There are 2 days till Christmas, and prepare to expand your stash with festive fabric finds from our Tash. Join us for Christmas in July, July the 21st to the 25th.
welcome back. If you've just joined us, I'm here with Lucy Brennan this morning. We've been looking at the sewing machine that she actually has at home, the Elna 680, so we're using that all morning today. And any questions for Lucy about that machine, remember to send them in to us and we can look at all of those with Lucy. So in this hour, we're looking at a mini quilt, but today is Love Patchwork and Quilting Day, so we're celebrating, it's their 50th issue. Love Patchwork and Quilting are our sister magazine, so they're part of the family, part of the immediate media family. And we've got a special offer on that subscription to the magazine. So if you go to the website, we're doing an annual subscription, it's a 50th issue today, so it's 50% off. So for 13 magazines, which is what you get in a year, you will get 50% off that subscription, and you get a free gift with every magazine. So if you head to the website there, you can see, you just click on that banner, and then you can go find out more, and you can sign up for a yearly subscription. So it's a 50% saving. That makes each magazine $2.99, and that's just for today. So if you want to do that, you do need to do it now and reap the benefits for the next year. You know, you're going to get a delivery, well, 13 issues a year, so just over one a month, probably every 4 weeks or so. A little something to read, lots of inspiration. They have lots of fun, fresh ideas in Love Patchwork and Quilting. It's a really modern magazine, and also you're getting patterns and project ideas, and also different articles from different designers. And Rebecca Reed is actually one of our guest designers on the show. She's the technical editor of Love Patchwork and Quilting, and they do loads of different things that are on trend. Lucy Brennan, who's here with us this morning, also designs for them. So a really lovely sort of something to have on your bookshelf, something to read, take on holiday with you. And you get little gifts like this. This is one that you get with this edition. You're getting a collection of 32 blocks. So they talk you through different crosses, triangles, squares and stripes. And on the back, you're getting all different information on how to create those. So 50% off that subscription today. That's just for today. So if you want to do that, just do it now on the website. So let's look at these fabric bundles that we've got in this hour, because we're doing the mini quilt. So we're going to start with the this one here on the end. Let's move this over. So all of these, there are 4 bundles, and you get 5 half-metre cuts in every bundle. So you're getting 2.5 metres of fabric in total. So let's have a look. The best way to show you these. So within your 5, you can just see that family of fabrics, how they work together. If I hold them up like this, you can get an idea of how they work. So this one's called Nature Walk. These are from Macawa, and they have that linear texture effect on them with that cross-hatching there. Let me just show you through the colours. So these are great. We're using these for the binding today on our quilt, but you've got a half a metre of each of these. So you've got this lovely grey, this charcoal. So there's that one there. Then your next one is the blue. So this is your Riviera blue. You can just see there that those sort of fine lines giving you that texture and depth to it. Then we've also got a lovely green here. This one's just called green, nice and straightforward, but with those slightly darker lines in that too. Again, adding that detail. So this is a new selection of these. We've not had this one on the show before as a bundle. This one here is your gorgeous Sunshine. So a lovely vibrant yellow there. And then finally, you've got your Cream, which has got some nice sort of a light grey cross-hatching detail on that there. So we've never had these on the show before as a bundle. So you've got 2.5 metres in that whole family in Nature's Walk. SNGC14 is your item number for that one. And the linear texture fabric, this isn't linen, you know, this is new colours that have come in. We've not had these in before. These are brand new. So if you've seen some of the linear texture fabrics, you might have seen some of them, but some of these colours are brand new to Sewing Quarter. So that's how they've been put together in a bundle that work with those complementary colours. Sort of taking the work out of it for you, so you know they're going to team together really beautifully. So that one there is $24.45. That's your first option. Then let's move on to this lovely colourful one here. We're introducing some more bright, bold colours in this bundle. I'll show you first of all just how they work as a little family there. So you can see all of your different colours. Blue, green, pink, orange and yellow. This one's called Summer Fate. So we're just heading into that. Well, actually, probably a lot of school summer fates have been and gone now, heading into that sort of season. So this one's more affordable. It's $15.95. Again, you're getting 2.5 meters of fabric. These are your Spectrum solids. So let's just show you the colours that you've got in there. So first of all, you've got this. This is a much lighter yellow. This one here, but obviously it's that solid colour. This one's called Maize. Then next up, you've got a really vivid orange. That's pumpkin orange. Obviously, these are 0.5 meters. So if you want to add these to your basket, just one of these colours, you can buy these from the website, cut off the bolt. But if you want them sort of paired together in a bundle, this is the way to do it. This one's your magenta, so a lovely bright pink. These are really happy fabrics, I feel like, in this bundle. They're really joyful. This is your mint green. And then finally, you've got a blue here. This is your aqua blue. So again, these work, you know, all of these can be bought separately on the website, cut off the bolts if you wanted to order more. Perhaps if you wanted 2 meters of just the aqua, you can order that on its own. But as a bundle, this is a really affordable way of doing it. $15.95, 2.5 meters of your solids there. So let's move those ones over. Our next one. So we're moving now into more of a sort of a bluey, greeny, sort of tropical feel. Actually, we want to do the spotty one first. That's fine. Let's move that one over. We'll come to tropical in a minute. I'm getting carried away. So this is your spot-on fabric. So you've got 0.5 meter of all of these again. So first of all, let's again just look at how they all work together. I just think spots are adding that little bit of extra detail compared to just using a solid on their own. Again, all 100% cotton. This is your At the Beach bundle. Keeping it summery, seeing as we've still got the sun, why not? So let's look at these different colours. You've got sunshine spot on, so it's the sunshine, obviously that same yellow colour, but again with your spots here. So just those sort of classic little polka dots you can see on that fabric. Then your next one is more of a golden yellow. This one's called Sand. Again, very appropriate for that At the Beach bundle. Then we move on to a coral, which is really lovely. This one's called Papaya. Oh, I like that one. Really beautiful colour. Next up, we have got a nice turquoise. And this one is just called turquoise, simply. And finally, we've got a baby blue. This one's called Sky. But just a really lovely, great to have in your stash, you know, for your binding or for adding some, or for the backing of a cushion, something like that. Rather than just a solid, you know, if you want a little bit more detail with a spot. I always think little dots are never offensive, are they? They just add a little bit of detail. FLGC59 is your item number for that one. And again, that one is $24.45. Let's shimmy that one along. And finally, this is the tropical sort of colours I was talking about before, so moving more into your blues and greens and turquoises. So I'll just show you that as a little family first of all. So your 5 fabrics there. Let's keep this here. So you've got that crisp white on the bottom. Then you've got a lovely sort of greeny blue there. This is Colours on Trend fabric bundle. Then you've got your turquoise there. That's more of a kingfisher blue, actually. These are all really popular colours. They're moving more towards a sort of a grey green. And then finally, you've got that nice slate grey. But you can just see how that works as sort of a spectrum of colours. LDGC29 is your item number for that one. And again, that one's more affordable. So both of your solids bundles, your plain solids, are more affordable options. This one's $15.95. Now, there's also a thread bundle that goes with this. So colour-wise, it's been teamed in to work together. So these are 5 threads that just work really beautifully. So again, you've got your white, which works with your white fabric. These are Gutermann threads. And then you've got your kingfisher blue. You've got your lovely sort of soft minty green. You've got your darker grey there and your charcoal. So you can just see how all of those colours match up. We've bundled these together to go with that fabric bundle. This is £8.95 for these threads, ERGC74. Let's just check how much thread you get in the... You get 100 metres of thread, so it's 500 metres of thread in total in that little bundle there. So let's just pop those all there with our fabric. There are your colours. You can see that on your screen. Those 5 different options, and they are 100% polyester. Perfect. So we're back with Lucy.
Yeah, I love those colours.
I've
not seen that on-trend bundle.
No, that's a new one.
And it's very on-trend.
It is very on-trend.
And I really can see, I'm like already in my mind.
Making things.
Yeah, I'm making things. You know, like, because all the plants are really in, aren't they, and leaves and things.
Yeah.
So a lot of stationery and...
We're both stationery fanatics. Last time we realised that we've both got a shared passion for stationery.
Yeah, I've seen lovely notebooks with,
yes.
you know, like cheese plant leaves or yucca plants or whatever, you know, different plants and all succulents. Everybody's gone succulent mad on social media, haven't they? But those colours
work really well for it.
Gorgeous. However, I'm going pink.
But that's just the one you've got on your screen there is the on-trend bundle. That's the one
stunning,
there.
Beautiful.
So you've got all of your sort of greys and blues, LDGC at 29, and then that matching thread bundle as well on the bottom of your screens.
Using those colours for cushions and like appliquing some leaves on
just to add
that
bit.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, really lovely. And because you've got, you know, you've got your white in there as well if you wanted to do a backing or lots of options. But as you said, we're going bright.
Yes, we are. I can't stop thinking now. I'm staring at it.
You can see the idea.
I can't stop thinking. I know. I was like, oh, I could put the white there and da-da-da. Might have to have a play. So these colours I picked out because, I wanted summery, bright, and it reminds me of a certain type of sweets.
Okay. I need to figure out what that is without
they're round.
Okay.
And you get these colours.
Yes, I know. I think I know what you mean.
So
I just twigged.
And I think I called it the refreshing mini bundle. So that gives you a clue.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you know, it's just that time of year and it's nice, happy. Like you said, they're joyful.
Yeah, they
are. They are
really
joyful.
Like, oh, the fabric's joyful, but it actually is. It makes you smile.
And when you're working with them, that's how you feel because you're looking at all these colours all the time. So just created, so it's sort of improvised. I mean, it's structured improvised, but it's...
this is your summer fate.
Yeah, I haven't... they've got instructions for this are on the website, I think.
I'm not sure about that. We'll check. Have we got instructions? We'll check that afterwards for you, whether we've got them. Yeah. Okay. But I just created this pattern so that people can just cut the strips of fabric and put it together. It's nice and easy. Yeah.
But you can play about with it and make it your own. If you want to make more of the patchwork blocks from the centre, you can add to those and then put borders on it. It's just fun.
So talking of strips.
Yes.
Yeah, this is exciting. We've got the Stripology rulers today. I can't believe this just works perfectly for stationery girls. So this is the larger one first of all we're going to look at.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen these before, well, we both said, didn't we? We watched, they have tutorials of how to use these rulers, and we're going to show you today how to use them. But when you see it in action, this is a Creative Grids ruler, and it's all about creating pre-cuts. So you can, from fabric cut off the bolt or that you've got, you know, in your stash, you can create charm pack sizes and strips like jelly rolls, can't you, yourself, but so much quicker, 75%. Quicker.
75%
quicker than if you were just cutting it one at a time. So,
and I actually think it might be quicker than that. If I'm really honest, I think it might be quicker than that.
I'm not sure how you get a percentage of
a lot of people.
time,
No, I don't know. I think that's a sort of a guesstimate. I think that we didn't say that. Somebody said that, didn't they, on the YouTube? But I think for a lot of people using the standard ruler, initially it's quite complicated, and then it becomes easy and it becomes second nature, and you can do it quite easily. But every time you make a cut, you're having to line things up and make sure it's straight. Yeah. You've got to measure it. You've got to make sure it's straight at the bottom, straight at the edge. And fabric, you know, can shift about every time you're moving it, every time you're pulling it on, you know, further along your mat, especially if you don't have a big mat, you know, you're having to move it a lot. And all of those little things, you know, can affect the accuracy. So, or take time. So when you're moving the ruler and the fabric, so long as you're getting it straight, you've got your accuracy, but you've got to measure it each and every time you cut a strip of fabric.
And each time you do that, like, as you say, that's a time. That's sort of time and energy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's time that you want to be sewing Not cutting.
No.
Cutting is one of my least favourite parts.
Sewing.
Basting's in there as well, but yeah, of sewing, cutting is one of my least favourite parts. Because it can be, if you're doing a whole quilt, if you're following a pattern and you've got a lot of cutting to do, and a lot of times they do, you need, 140 squares and 300 rectangles or whatever it may be. That's a lot of cutting out.
What pre-cuts can we do from this? So if you don't have a jelly roll, you could cut that using this ruler, couldn't you?
Yes, you can cut jelly roll. Very, very simple. That's the most straightforward one to do. So I'll show you how to do that. And also that would be like binding strips as well. Yeah. So you can cut all of your binding strips really, really quickly. So I'll show you how easy it is, and then we can talk about other pre-cuts. So I'll get the fabric ready first, because that's the first thing that you need to do. So I'm using a 1/2 metre here.
Yeah.
And you can cut from, it doesn't have to be a 1/2 metre. You can cut up your scraps, you can cut fat quarters. But for when you're cutting lots of strips, obviously, the more you can work with,
you might as well make as many as you can.
So do a 1/2 metre. So you just want to check that your edges are lined up, and then we're going to fold the fabric. So you have to forgive me that I haven't pressed this very, very well, and I was on the train this morning, so it had been folded up. And then you're going to line up all your edges along the top, so you know that that's nice and straight. You don't need to worry about the sides, because you'll trim that. The ruler sort of does that for you, but it's this edge here that's really important, and obviously this edge. So you want to make sure everything's pressed really well. You've got these lining up, and it's lined up on your. You don't have to line it up with anything. Sorry, just that the fold is nice and straight, and that you've not got any wrinkles in your fabric.
Perfect.
And then the ruler itself. I might just turn it that way to show.
I don't even know if it's obvious if you've not seen one of these before, but this is all little, you can see that these are actually all slits.
Yes.
Within, that sit within this ruler, so that's where you can get your rotary cutter in. You're going to see it now when Lucy cuts anyway, but I just feel, if you've never seen one before, it almost looks like a flat mat. Yeah. And actually these are all little ridges within.
So it's just straight cut, it's just straight slits.
All the way through your ruler. But it's a really substantial. This isn't going to snap. It's a really sturdy piece of
incredibly
kit.
sturdy. Creative Grids. Anybody who watches knows I rave about them.
Yeah.
It's what I use at home. I absolutely love Creative Grids rulers. They all have the non-slip on, and this is on every single strip on every single one. So it's not going anywhere.
If you read, I'm a bit of a, I love reading about, and if you read a lot of reviews about rulers and things, the main thing that people find is that slipping, because it's all very well lining it up and saying it's going to be quicker, but if it slips or your fabric underneath is moving, you don't have that accuracy, so you've lined it all up and then it's not going to cut.
And you can get the special dots that you can stick on rulers to stop them from sliding around. But this is built on. No, but this is built in as well. It's not stuck on. It's not going to come off.
No.
It's not the same thing. This is a completely different standard of ruler. And you can feel it. You can just see here on the back. The texture is textured.
My hands need to be. You need your. I need your hands here so you can feel. But you can just see that all of this here is textured, and once you apply pressure to that, it's not going anywhere. It really does grip your fabric, so it's not going to slip. And that's what Creative Grid rulers are quite renowned for, really, aren't they? That they are going to stay firmly in place.
Yeah, absolutely. So the slits are every 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you can't cut things to 1/4 inch. You can do that. There's a marking on this side of the ruler, and you just move it along. So you straighten up that edge first, and then you just move it along. But I'm going to be sticking with the
classics.
Classic ones just for today. So if I can just turn it round, so you can see along the bottom there, that's got all the measurements. So the ruler itself goes from 1 up to 20 inches.
All the way along here.
So that's, you easily can get your 1/2 metre width in there. And then you've got the markings for all the inches, and then the 1/2 inches. And then you've also got
I love this.
I
If you
love
don't like
this.
maths as well, or you don't like numbers, this is fab.
And if you don't like rulers, and if you
Yeah.
don't like measuring, but you love quilting and sewing, this is just so brilliant. So it's got the stars and the squares. So the stars indicate from 0, 1.5 inch cuts, and the squares are 2.5 inch cuts.
So that's your typical sort of jelly roll.
So those are, standard sort of sizes that you might need to be cutting are 2.5, definitely. I'd cut that a lot. You just will follow the squares, so you don't even have to look at the numbers.
No numbers.
You just follow the squares. So I'm going to do that because it's so easy. Yeah. So you just want to lay it down on your fabric, and like I said before, you want to make sure that it's all pressed and that it's folded nice and straight. Now, with Creative Grid rules, I always like to just do that because that just helps the grip, and then it's really... I'm shaking the table.
We've got an earthquake in the studio.
The ruler isn't actually... Literally, it isn't going anywhere. So while you're cutting, it's very, very safe. And it just needs to reposition it slightly because you want to make sure that this edge is just going past that dotted line, so that the first cut that you make along the 0 is really accurate. If you're lining up your fabric, you don't definitively know that that's going to be straight, even if you'd have trimmed it off previously. Once you've unfolded and folded it again, you know, it can shift slightly. So I just want to make sure that that edge of the fabric
on either end
is just hanging over that line there. And then there's a black line at the bottom, and that's where I line that up with the fold of the fabric. And then I can start cutting. So I'm going to have to shimmy over here. And the first cut that you make is on the 0, and this is just going to get rid of those not straight, not straight edge. So it has a little ridge at the bottom that you fit your rotary cutter into, so you can see that sort of teardrop shape. And that means that you're cutting from the very edge of the fabric.
It creates a channel, doesn't it, for the rotary cutter?
Exactly. And then you just slide it along, and it goes up to where there's a channel at the top there. So you keep it in position. Yeah, you don't move it. And then all I'm going to do is just cut along.
We're going to go for squares. 2.5 inch strips.
So 2.5 inch strips. So you do just want to be mindful of where you putting your hands, obviously. You don't want to be doing that.
Rotary cutters, no.
Yeah, you need to be really careful. So keep your hands away, but you can much more quickly. And I'm just looking at where the squares are, so I'm not actually looking at the numbers at all. And I'm just cutting on the squares.
So we're actually cutting through the ruler.
Last one there.
That's just off the end.
Yeah, that I can get there. So then I can move the ruler. And so that last one, I didn't quite go through. Oh, yes, I did. That last one there will not be, but I've got all those strips just from doing that. And I was doing it probably a little bit slower than I would even do it at home, because you can just, go along.
Those perfect 2.5 inch strips, you would use this for...
Binding.
Yeah.
I would use that for binding on quilts, for piecing. You know, you might...
Log cabin.
Need... Brilliant for a log cabin. Yeah. And when you get more familiar with it,
Could you do more layers of fabric?
I would just stick with that. 4 is quite a good thickness. You know, if you're really confident, you probably could stack up a little bit more, but probably I would maybe just do 1 at a time. But to get that much done that quickly versus the traditional
7, 8,
you know, to keep moving it and lining it up.
And also
much quicker.
The good thing about this size one is, as you said, you can use the meter, that you can use the fabric, you know, a 1/2 metre cut of fabric off the bolt, because you have the width in that ruler, because
you've got the width.
20 inches.
Yes.
You can fit that all the way across. And what would you use the diagonal lines for?
So the diagonal lines so then once you've got your strips cut, you can subcut them as well. So we can do squares or rectangles very easily. So I can lay the strips that I've cut on top of each other. Hang on, let me get that right. Oh, that was the end one, wasn't it? That's
I
why
should
that's
say,
not right.
I was going to say if a recipe calls for, but what I meant was if the instructions, if a pattern call for, you know, like you say, 140, or, you know, that's so much cutting.
Yeah, and they do regularly. And so you know, using this, you just do it. Well, it doesn't really matter where you put it, just so long as you've got those edges lined up there, so you're cutting away the extra. So say if I want to do 3 inch, no, we'll do 2.5. So 2.5, 5, that's going to give me squares. And then, you know, I wanted some other size rectangles. And I can just go for it and cut. And I'm really making the most of all that fabric.
Utilising all those little bits and pieces.
Getting all those pieces. And I've just cut all of those.
So if you're having to do hundreds and hundreds, this is, you know, really quickly.
And you can stack it up, and it doesn't matter what size your fabric, you know, you can do it from the 0.5 meters and you'll get all those strips really easily, but it doesn't matter what size fabric you use to
cut from. You could have a smaller piece underneath.
Yeah,
if you
can have a smaller piece. And if you
fat
had
quarter, you could put
fat
fat
quarters, you can put fat quarters in. And if you had, so sometimes you're going to need to fold it. So depending on the
what
width
you're trying
of it,
to create,
but actually by folding it, you're just reducing your time even further because you're getting more because you've stacked it up. And if you had odd shaped pieces of fabric, you can just lay them out, go for it, you know, cut as many as you like, and you're not wasting your fabric. You're really getting the most from your fabric. And obviously when you've spent the money, or you've got a lot of sitting at home in your collection, which a lot of quilters will do, in a stash.
And also, if you are being tempted by pre-cuts, you know, sort of buying pre-cuts, but you know you've got fabric in your stash that you should probably use up, this is a way of creating pre-cuts from that fabric, isn't it?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
You know,
so I think it's 20 fat quarters, you can get a layer cake, 2 charm packs, and half a jelly roll.
That's a lot.
So I easily have 20 plus fat quarters sitting at home, and you know, folded up on a you know, they're not doing anything, so you can get them out, you can have a play with them, you can mix them up, you're creating your own pre-cuts essentially, and using, you know, what you have and taking this ruler and actually starting to use it and make it into something.
And Lucy, you have this ruler, don't you?
Yeah.
You just bought it.
I just bought it because I hadn't tried it, I hadn't seen it before.
No.
And you know, it was one of those things where I thought, oh, this is a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
It's like an extra, you know. But actually, I do so much cutting, and I don't love it all the time.
No.
Anything I can do to speed up...
You want to be on there, you don't want to be...
I do,
you know,
exactly. I want to be creating. Anything I can do to speed up that process is A-OK with me. And this... I didn't realise how much I was going to love it, and it's brilliant. And the more I think about it, the more things I can think of.
I could do that. Or...
Yeah, and there are patterns that go along with the Stripology ruler, and you know, there are different things you can get online that, you know, you can watch the YouTube videos, like we said, and get some ideas of the different things that you can do.
Well, they have these. You can scan the little barcode on here, and you can watch, you know, tutorial videos on YouTube of what you can do with it. We've actually had a message in from Margaret. Morning, Margaret. Thanks for getting in touch. Let's see what is it on the. Oh, thanks for sharing the ruler. Oh, Hannah's going to tell us. Oh, she's got the Bargello quilt kit, and it's going to really speed up.
Yes.
That's so true.
Brilliant for that. Perfect. And there are so many patchwork designs, you know, log cabin, like you said, courthouse steps. There's just lots that are just made up. For doing 9-patch blocks, trip around the world, any of those sort of blocks where you know, it's based on squares.
Yeah. We've got cutting.
Yeah, you can sew strips together, subcut them. It makes it so much faster to be able to do it that way. So I've just done it from a 0.5 metre. When I come to be doing this, I am going to piece and then put them together. So you'll see how that works. But, you know, when you think about the possibilities of what you can do and how long that would take.
Yeah.
You know.
So it seems like you say now you have it, you think of even more things you can do with it.
Yes.
We've got another message here as well. Let's have a look. Lucy, here's a thought. Fold it on. This is from Jean in Kent. Morning, Jean. Lucy, here's a thought. Fold it on the bias and cut bias strips.
Jean, you're genius.
Genius, Jean.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Genius. Brilliant idea. And actually, you can, I'm going to show you,
I
you
love
can
it.
cut, that's a very good idea. I'm so going to be doing
Gina
that.
Margaret, thanks for your messages. That's great.
But this is what I can't, you know, the more you think about, and then you start thinking, oh, but I could do that with it. I could do that with it. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, all I'm going to cut is strips. You know, okay, that's binding. I do cut a lot of binding strips.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. But then I started thinking, oh, but all those things I've pieced.
That require...
all those squares, all those rectangles, diamonds. I'm going to show you how to cut diamonds. So you're just lining up. You can cut a strip. Again, you could layer this up so you can be cutting more at once.
Multiple strips.
There's a 45-degree angle and there's a 60-degree angle. So you just would decide on whatever width you want your strips to be. I haven't positioned that properly, but we'll just go for it anyway. So, 1, 2. I'm just going to randomly. We might have some trapezoid shapes or parallelograms, but that's okay. And then, because I didn't lay it up right, but there you start getting, you can get all different shapes.
Just by turning it and
round, but yeah, you get your diamonds. So you can get those are 60-degree diamonds. You can get 45-degree diamonds as well.
You could just use those different angles. You can just see these different shapes here that we're cutting. Don't know if we can see.
Parallelogram.
So quick. We're just doing shape testing to like back at school.
But that's so that's really, really fun, and it's great if you're following a pattern. You can do those squares and rectangles or diamonds, but you can and I mean even actually you could do diamonds and subcut those into triangles if you wanted to.
This way.
Way quicker than you would do if you were just piecing it.
You could just cut them in half. We're just discovering stuff as we go. This morning is like more things.
But that's what's so fun, and especially from a design point of view, you know. Then I can have a real play with this and come up with completely different things that perhaps I wouldn't have thought of just using the one ruler. Or that you might have been put off doing because you think, I really don't want to spend that time cutting all of those out. Triangles are a pain to, you switching your book. It's doable, I've done it, and I do enjoy it, but the cutting out process, I do not enjoy it at all.
Very long.
I'm so going to start doing triangles with this. Genius.
I might leave you doing a couple of triangles. I'm just going to quickly look at those fabric bundles again. And then we'll come back.
Yeah,
do you
perfect.
Want to do a triangle
it's brilliant. Well, I'll do the. I'll start doing the other one because I need to get on
here.
Do that, don't I?
So. Let's just quickly look at those bundles. I'll be back in a second. So we had 4 different bundles this morning on today's show. So we've got 5 half-metre cuts in each bundle, so 2.5 metres in each. So we're going to start with this one here, which Lucy was loving this morning. This is this is really popular. This is selling really quickly this morning. We thought it would be. It's a very trendy colour selection. As Lucy was saying, these colours are really popular on social media, creating things with sort of leaves, and so you've got that top colour there is a nice charcoal. Then underneath you've got your teal. These are all 100% cotton. These are your Spectrum solids from Makawa. This is jade. Then you've got that lovely spearmint. And then you've got your white as well, that optical white. So you can see those 5 colours there, how they all work together. LDGC 29, that's a really popular one this morning. If you do like that one, just make sure you add it to your basket and you do check out. Half the quantity of that bundle has already gone. So if you have got it in your basket, I just encourage you to go right through and make sure you've checked it out. Now we've also got a thread bundle that we've put together specifically to go with that, just because the colours work really well together. So we've got the still of that, which I can show you on the screen. So again, you've got your white, your spearmint, your teal, your grey, and your darker charcoal there. We've bundled that. We've put that together for you to team with that fabric bundle colour-wise. ERGC 74, and that's $8.95. So 500 metres of your Gutermann thread there. So whichever bundle you fancy, this is the one we're working with Lucy this morning. This is the Summer Fate bundle. So we've got 5 different fabrics again in here. It's a really bright, cheerful one. Let's look at these colours that you've got. So you've got that lovely blue there. Then you've got that soft green. So these all work well together, or whether you use them, just add to your stash and use them one at a time as and when you want to. That's that beautiful magenta pink we've been working with using the ruler this morning. Again, if you want to add these to your basket on the website off the bolt, you can, but these have been put together to make them, more affordable in a bundle. $15.95 for this one. You've got your pumpkin orange there as well. And your sunshine yellow. HUGC03. You can see those 5 colours there, that little family of fabrics. $15.95 again, so that's another more affordable option to add those solids to your stash. Just that rich uniform colour, great for binding, great for backing, and just, 100% cotton, so really nice and simple to work with. So then we've got a spotty option. So if you want to add a little bit more detail, rather than going for something completely plain, this is a nice way to just inject a bit more interest. So again, you've got 5 half meters in this bundle here. I'll start by showing you these colours. So on the top, you've got this lovely soft blue. Then underneath, you've got your turquoise. Then this one's my favourite. This is papaya, that nice coral. Then you've got your maize, which is a nice golden yellow. It's quite a rich, that one's called sand. And then your sunshine yellow, a nice bright, joyful one. Just keep saying joyful about fabric this morning because it's nice bright colours. You can see those 5 options there on your screen. FLGC 59, that's the At the Beach fabric bundle. And again, 2.5 metres of fabric in total, $24.45. And then this is the last bundle, then we'll get back to our mini quilt with Lucy. So some of these you might have seen before, some of these we've not had on the show before. These are the linear texture fabrics, so they've got that cross-hatching detail on them. This is a new bundle for us today. So we've got a lovely cream, soft cream there. That's your ivory. Again, your sunshine yellow, your green, your blue and your grey. Nature Walk, SNGC14, and again that's $24.45. So the bundle that we're working with this morning is the On Trend bundle. That one there's your Nature Walk that we were just looking at with the linear texture, but then we're going to also look at that trend bundle that we're working with Lucy on a mini quilt. That one's been really popular on the show this morning with those happy, over half the stock of that one's already gone, so just add that one to your basket if that is the one that you like. LDGC 29, $15.95, and that's the one that Lucy was loving. That isn't the one we're working with. That's the one that Lucy loved, but the one we're working with is the Summer Fate, which we've got here, and we get cracking with this mini quilt.
Yes, I'm just sewing strips. I can't stop myself. I can't just stand here.
No, I need to sew. I
have to just sew. Yeah.
So there's this other ruler, isn't there? Creative Grids ruler.
Yes. Yeah, so this is another ruler. So this is the one that I used to create the mini.
Yeah.
So this one is slightly smaller than the other one, but this one has also, so you can't cut, you won't get the 1/2 metre on this one, because this one measures 12.
It's a more portable option, isn't it?
Well, it's like 12.5 by 12 and
yeah,
12.5.
That's a square, the square one.
So what's nice about that? So the actual ruler is slightly bigger than that, but those are the cuts that you can get. It's 12.5 by 12.5. What's nice about this one is you can also use it for squaring up, or squaring up your blocks. So you've got different markings on it for different size blocks. So the black lines there, that's a 3-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch. You've got a 6,
These
7,
are going up
8,
in inch
9,
sort of increments.
all the way through, and then the
white,
other way.
These 1/2-inch ones, aren't they?
Is the 1/2-inch.
So depending, on what size you want to create, you can do those squares either in 1/2-inch increments or in inch increments with those black lines there. So as you say, perfect for squaring off blocks.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, it's just a bit smaller, this one, so it's easier to
take with you if you're going to
somewhere,
class,
or whatever you wanted to do with it.
But the same principle in terms of all those channels within the ruler itself.
Yes.
To put your rotary cutter in, you just slot it in and cut along those different markings. And again, you've got your squares and stars on the bottom. So if you don't like maths, you can just follow the symbols, or it's just quicker for any, regardless of maths.
Absolutely. And if you are somebody who saves up all your pieces of fabric, this would be a great one for trimming things down. I know a lot of people save you know, fabric they might cut off from borders or bits from another project. And then if you were wanting to cut those down to keep them for your next project, so say you're going to cut all your things into 2.5-inch squares, you can do that really quickly using this ruler as well. So it has lots of uses and there's lots of possibilities for it. But that's a really nice thing to be able to just take whatever size fabric pieces you've got and then make them all into a uniform size.
Make them useful.
Yes, exactly. And you're doing it in
seconds.
Just a lot less time than if you were doing each one individually. So I'm going to go through the mini quite quickly because I know we're going to run out of time. So I created this as like an improv quilt, having not used this particular ruler before and just wanting to show people the different ways that you can use it, but to have fun, to create something quite summery. And you could make
really
these
bright.
Yeah, so you can use the instructions are on the website. You can use the instructions to make this bigger, so it could easily become a cushion cover, because I haven't said you need to cut this many strips at this size or whatever.
So you
I haven't
can just
measured
customise it.
Yes, so you can just do it as you wish. You're just building up. I do give step-by-step instructions, but you'll quite easily see you can just build that up, so you can make the borders bigger. You could do more patchwork in the middle if you wanted to. So you really can make it your own.
It sort of grows out, doesn't it? The pattern, so you could see how that would scale up to a bigger quilt.
Exactly. So to start off with, you just need strips. So I think I said anywhere from 1 inch up to 2.5 inches. Now that's up to you. If you wanted to make it much bigger and do it for a quilt size, you could cut wider strips.
Because it would be
I'm not
bigger,
stopping
quicker.
you. Yes.
If you want it to grow quicker.
If you want it to grow quicker, you can cut your strips wider.
I like these narrow ones, though, I have to say.
I just think for something this sort of size, or for a cushion, if you're working with those smaller pieces, it does just add a bit more interest. And this looks so much more complicated than it is.
Yeah, it does look really,
because I wasn't using teeny tiny bits of fabric to make it. I do have some 1-inch strips, but I'm sewing them together.
So you're not having to do all tiny.
So it's not really tiny pieces.
It looks like it could be fiddly.
Yes,
but it's not.
not.
Show us.
Yes. So I'll show you. So I've just lined up the fabric again. So just along the bottom and making sure, I've probably gone a bit excessive, but just making sure you've got some extra on that side. And then again, you want to start cutting at the 0. And then say I'm going to do 1 inch. So I've cut 1 inch strip, and then I can just go completely random and cut wherever I like. And then if I did want to, if I knew I wanted to do it every 1.5, I could follow the stars just to get it done quickly. And I know that's going to be every 1.5 inches.
All the way along the bottom there.
And then that goes to the end.
Perfect.
So there, I've just done all those strips.
So
that's going a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, a bit thin.
I wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing.
Squidgy.
And you do need to just get rid of that bit that was at the side. But, that could become stuffing or something else. And then, so you really don't need to waste anything. And then you've got all those different sizes. So I've just done that randomly. I used, how many colours are in the bundle? 6 colours.
Yeah.
But you can use whatever variety you wanted. If you wanted to do it with spots or something like that, you could. You just want to have a variety of sizes.
So you could literally you can take your 5 fabrics and you could just cut a whole mix, what's the word I was looking for? Mishmash of sizes. You could just go for strips.
And I probably cut like a 1/4 of a metre or something off each one. I didn't cut all of them. You can always cut more if you need to, but I didn't use the full 1/2 meters by any means for this project. So I just went ahead and cut strips, and I still had some left over to demo.
Yeah, you had that whole pink bit.
Yeah, so you don't need to cut that many. You could do 2.5 inch strips, and then whatever's left over you've got for binding, or if you want, or 2 1/4. So you just do that with all the colours. So you've got a variety of strips, and then you just sew them into pairs. Right. Okay, so I've just taken randomly,
they don't have to be the same
one
width.
And a green one. No. Almost not. Change it up. Do different ones and pairing them together. So I didn't pair the same colours. I just did it completely random, and then I sewed them into pairs. And I do that because then I can just sew 2 together, sew 2 together, and just
so
chain
you wouldn't
piece
do
and
2 and then
going.
have a third and a fourth. You would
No,
go
I
pair,
didn't
pair,
do it that
pair,
way. So I
and then...
just sewed lots into pairs because you're going to use it up. And even when I did the borders, they were already pairs.
Oh, right, okay. So then you just put 2 together.
So that looks like it's more complicated, but I just was doing the borders with the pairs. So I did either side, so you can see the orange and the green.
Yeah.
They were already together. And then I did on this side blue and yellow, this side blue and orange. I just went completely random. And then top and bottom, you know, different colours. So those were already in pairs. That's another really, could make a really interesting log cabin or, you know, another kind of block if you
already had them
paired up. Yes.
Inspiration's
fire today
this morning. It's just like sparky. I love it.
So all I did was just sew those into pairs, and then I kept going, and then I take some of the pairs of strips and sew these together to create a panel that is wider than 6.5 inches.
Okay.
Okay. So to make this pattern, that's what I was doing. So you just keep sewing your strips together, because I don't think that is quite.
No, it's fine.
To make till you get it, you know. And as you're doing it, you know, it might turn it round. Do I want it on that side? Do I want it on that side? You can play about and just see where,
which colours look
which strips you want sewn together. But I just think it's more enjoyable spending the time sewing than it is planning this sort of a thing.
Just sort
because
of go for it and see.
It's so random. You don't know, you know, what it's going to look like. I'm going to really quickly mention something else about this machine that I didn't at the start.
Okay.
When you put the bobbin in, in the other show when we were talking about the machine, you don't need to bring your bobbin thread up from the bottom, which sounds like a really small thing. Yeah, it is a really small thing, but you can just start sewing. It automatically...
It does it for you?
It does it for you. So you don't have to, like with a regular machine, you have to catch your bobbin thread and make sure that's pulled up and they're both to the back. No, you just go.
So this is if you missed this morning in the 8 o'clock show, Lucy was talking about the Elna 680. This is the machine that Lucy actually has, you know, at home that she uses. So lots of little features that even still, having done an hour talking about it, there are still bits and pieces that you know, the features to talk about.
Yeah, and because it's just things like that that you wouldn't necessarily think of, but actually just make your sewing time that much more enjoyable. It means you can get more done. You know, you're just doing the sewing. You're not having to fiddle about fixing things with the machine. Yeah, you're just going for it. So I've sewn that strip. It does say in the instructions, you know, how to cut your strips and all that kind of thing. I'm just sort of going through it quite quickly for time. I did press...
Yeah, that would be quite bulky, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I did press the seams open. If I'm really honest, when I made it, I didn't. I just pressed them all to the side. But it will help reduce the bulk if you can take the time
to do that.
To press all of your seams open. So once you've got a piece that measures, I'll just check that. Yeah, so that's 7. So that's a bit more than we need. But you want it about 6.5, but you don't need to be particularly accurate with it.
I love these colours together.
Yeah. So once you've done that, then we're going to cut it again.
Okay.
So we've got the strip, so we can just line it up.
What do we want to create now? What?
So now what we're doing is we're just subcutting these strips so that we can get, to make sure it's all lined up. We're going to end up with 3-inch strips. So I'm going to cut it every 3 inches, and this part is for the patchwork in the middle. Yeah. So again, just cutting it 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. And then this one, I'm going to subcut this again. And because I literally have just cut this,
you know that one can sit on the 0.
line that up. Yeah. And then 3 and 6.
The ruler here that Lucy's using is the squared Stripology ruler. So that's the one that's on your screens at the moment. The bigger one that we had at the top of the show that we were talking about, probably 20 minutes ago, that larger ruler, that's a different size. That one's called... That one will come up on the bottom of your screens in a minute, just in case. That's the one there on the bottom. If I'll just show you that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lucy, just grab it.
Okay.
I just don't want anyone to order the wrong one. This is the bigger one,
You can see
and
the
you can just
size
see the size difference there. This is sort of a more portable option. So this one here is HBCQ38, and this one is PFCQ46. So this is perfect for doing all your borders and your binding and basically creating pre-cuts from from larger cuts of fabric off the bolt. If you want to create jelly rolls and charm packs and layer cakes
really quickly and really easily, and just using fabric
that you have.
So next I'm going to stack these up, and what I did do, you've got a lot of seams here now.
Yeah.
So I want to subcut these to get my squares.
Right.
Okay, so I've cut these into 3-inch strips, and then I'm going to turn them and stack them up to subcut them. Now you want to, and I just flip them over so that all the seams aren't on top of each other.
Ah,
do you see what I mean? Because it would just help. Otherwise, it just sort of gets a bit too bulky. And I didn't press that seam, so we're just going to go for it and see how it turns out.
It's like a fan. It's got a real concertina effect going on at the sides.
So you're just going to stack those up, and then I'm going to use the ruler again.
But again, though, because of those grips on the rulers, even if you have a bulky seam, in a pinwheel, if you've got all those seams in the middle, it's still, and because of the slots, it still sits quite flush against it. It doesn't, with some reasons you have a wobble if you had like big bulky seams.
Yeah, no, it's not, and it's really easy with this because you've got all
that movement in the ruler itself.
So I'm going to subcut this, so 0, 3, and 6. But what I want to be careful of, can you see if I cut it on 3 there, I'm going to lose that in my seam allowance. So I'm going to just shimmy it over slightly.
So be mindful of colours and where you're cutting.
So I will still lose part of it, but then I'm going to get that slither like I got with the blue, which is really effective when you come to piece the blocks together.
Just here, you can see that.
Yeah.
So you're just adding a little bit, just so you've got a peep of it.
And that's something that would be very fussy. Just shifted, that was silly. That would be very fussy piecing, but because we've put all those strips together,
you've not had to, it's always happened by accident.
Yeah, so it's easy. And yours aren't going to look exactly the same. This isn't going to look like that because of I've sewn the strips together totally differently. So it's a really fun way of making things really quite random. So I've got a bit extra there because I'd made my
it was 7 inches.
But there I've got my squares already. And if you were to piece this, so I am going to lose a little bit there, but never mind. If you were going to piece these traditionally, yeah,
because you can turn them and put them different ways.
Yeah, so you can have them going. And this is this is just the bit that I love because you can just play about and
we've got about a minute or so.
Organise them as you
please.
Yeah, as you want. I don't know. Should just do that.
That's it. We've only got about a minute left. I don't know where that time's gone.
That's I don't know where it goes.
It's run away this morning.
So then we've got all of those nice squares. So we just sew those into rows, and that becomes the central part there of the
this section
mini. So it does look very sweet-like.
Yeah.
It is those real sweety colours, and a bit like those licorice ones that are stacked up. Like if you could throw some black in there, actually, couldn't you, as well, and make it look like those licorice ones. So you just sew these squares together into rows, and that's the central part. And then whatever strips you have left, you just start
two stitched together from the beginning.
Yeah, you just start building up your border. So once those are sewn together, I might lay that out, and you can, once that's sewn up, measure and cut your strip to exactly that length.
Okay.
For something like this where it's very improvised, and because you have such small pieces, you might get some warp in your, they might just not stay perfectly straight lines, is what I'm saying. You could use some starch, that will help if you really want to get that geometric look. But you can be a bit rougher with this, I think, and it still look good in the finished piece. So you can just cut those strips, sew them either side, and then you repeat top and bottom, and you just build it out like that.
Perfect.
And that's the mini. And then I just quilted concentric circles using my walking foot.
You can see that. which we're doing actually.
Yeah, the back's really fun.
Yeah,
actually. I really like the back.
We haven't even got to that.
I just pieced that with two.
Yeah, you can see that there. The quilting. So you're back again in the next hour. I've had a whole morning of Lucy. I love it today.
Next is the cushion. So we're doing some free motion quilting in the next hour.
Yes, so we'll be using the machine to go back out, do some free motion quilting.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to quickly recap those fabrics. Run, you get a few minutes to get a drink. Go, go, go. So let's just have a look at those fabrics and we'll show you those different bundles. So let's head over here. So the most popular bundle is the one you can see on your screen at the moment. That's the one that Lucy was saying, well over half the stock of that's gone. Lucy was saying what a trendy sort of colour selection that is, that colour palette, with your blues and your greys and whites. So this bundle here is called Colours on Trend, LDGC 29. But I would check out your basket on this one. It's just because we are now limited stock on this. So you get 1/2 metre of all of these colours there. We've got your spearmint and your white. And that one's £15.95. Then your next one is, there's a thread bundle that goes with that, so you get 5 different coloured threads that are teamed really well colour-wise with that, with your blues and whites and greys. So ERGC 74 is your item number for that one, and that's £8.95. Let's just look at Summer Fate. This is the one that we've been working with that sort of sweetie themed mini quilt. That's the one that we've been cutting with this morning. So you've got your blue, you've got your lovely soft green, your magenta pink, your pumpkin orange, and your sunshine yellow. Hug, HUGC03 for that lovely summer fun. And that again is £15.95. Then finally, we've had these Stripology rulers this morning from Creative Grids that are so popular. They're so well made, these acrylic rulers. They're really well known for their grips on the back. This one here is the larger ruler. This is the one that you can use. It's perfect for creating your pre-cuts, your jelly rolls and layer cakes. And then your smaller one, again, you need to check out your baskets on these. I'm being told they're super popular. This is your squared one, so great for squaring off blocks of all different sizes in different increments. And, well, Speedy Gonzalez on that one. The graphics for that one there are on your screen. So we'll be back in 3 minutes. Lucy's back, and we're doing some free motion embroidery. I'll see you then.
Simply search for the Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more.
This month, Love Patchwork and Quilting magazine are celebrating their 50th issue, and we're marking the occasion with a quilting extravaganza. Join us on Wednesday the 19th of July for a morning of shows dedicated to all things quilting. The Love Patchwork and Quilting team will be taking over the studio to showcase some exciting projects, must-have tools, fabulous fabrics and top tips. With special guests such as Lucy Brennan and an incredible half-price Love Patchwork and Quilting subscription offer, this quilting special is a real must-watch. So whether you're looking to expand your mind or just your fabric stash, tune in on Wednesday the 19th of July from 8 AM to 12 noon, only on Sewing Quarter Freeview Channel 78.
So I'm going to be showing you how to do a ladder stitch. Now this is a great stitch when you want to sew something up and create an invisible stitch. Now, first of all, I'm just going to use the example of something like a pincushion, but I need to bring these two edges together using the invisible stitch, which is known as the ladder stitch. So first of all, I'm going to take my needle up through the fold. So I'm going to be concealing the knot in the thread. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle in through the fold of the fabric and come out. So you can see that I'm on the actual fold there, so obviously there's the raw edges are inside my pincushion. I'm going to take that through. Now I'm going to go to the opposite side and repeat that stitch, so I want to make sure that this is parallel. So I'm going to come in through that fold and come out. So again, I'm making these stitches really big so you can see what I'm doing. So you can see how I'm going across the whole of the fabric. So if I just keep doing a few stitches. So as you can see, we have the ladder stitch there going across the two pieces of fabric. So when I pull my thread, you can see that almost makes those stitches invisible.
Don't forget, shopping with us is easy and simple. You can just contact us at 0800 112 4433 and speak to our UK-based call centre to place an order, or shop online with us at www.sewingquarter.com.
There are 2 days till Christmas, and prepare to expand your stash with festive fabric finds from our Tash. Join us for Christmas in July, July the 21st to the 25th. Here at the Sewing Quarter, we want to help you with your levels of sewing. Whether you're a novice or you've been sewing for years and years, we want this to be a fabulous learning curve for all of you. Whether it's making a little gift or making yourself a fabulous outfit, we will be working with some of the UK's biggest designers. You have to join us for that.
Don't forget, our sister brands are some of the leading brands in the industry, with Love Patchwork and Quilting being rated top modern quilt title on the market. Today's quilter has achieved market leadership in the traditional quilt sector. And finally, Simply Sewing was launched in February 2015 after noticing a gap in the market for beginners. Combined, we reach over 150,000 readers every month.
Or if you've just joined us, it's lovely to have you here with us this morning. I'm joined by Lucy Brennan all morning today, so we've got lots of fun projects and also just, well, having a nice general chit-chat about our shared passion for stationery and all things stationery related. So today as well is Love Patchwork and Quilting Day. So the magazine is a sister magazine. It's part of the Immediate Media family, so it's part of our Sewing Quarter family here, and it's actually the release of their 50th issue today. So as a result of that, we're doing an offer where you can get 50% off your subscription to Love Patchwork and Quilting. If you head to the website, you can see just on that live feed of the show there, you can click on that banner that says the 50th issue special offer. Just for today, if you go there and click on Find Out More, you can get 50% off your 13 issues for the year. So that makes each magazine $2.99. Obviously, it's a big saving there. And that's just for today only. So if you do want to do that, you want to treat yourself to a subscription to the magazine, then you need to do that. You need to act on that today. You can head to the website. So we've had quite a lot of messages from people saying how much they love the magazine. Lots of sort of really trendy ideas in there. Lots of fun inspiration for different projects, but also patterns. And you know, a lot of our guest designers that we have here at Sewing Quarter, you'll see them popping up in these magazines. They design for them, and Joe and Lucy and lots of different people. So yeah, really lovely if you want to. I think a magazine is the sort of thing, you don't really get that much post anymore, do you? You don't really get many letters. Well, I don't get that many letters, but I love receiving things through the post. I think a magazine is it's a nice little treat to yourself. Make your day when you get home. You find that on your doorstep. So, in this hour, we're doing a quilted cushion. We were joking about this earlier and saying this tiny little cushion that Lucy's made. Maybe we could say it's a giant pin cushion. So you get a lot more in your bundle than what you've got in here you could make a much larger cushion. This is just an example. So we've got 3 different fabric bundles this morning to create a cushion, a quilted cushion. And each one comes with a charm pack and then 2 half-metre fabrics and 2 threads. So let's have a look first of all at this one here. This is your brand new charm pack from Amy Butler. I haven't seen this one before. It's really new to Sewing Quarter. This is called Soulmate, this bundle. And you're getting, I believe, let's just check, 32. Is it 32? I don't want to say it wrong. 42 pieces in this charm pack. So this one here, really beautiful, bright, bold colours. Lots of magentas and blues and reds coming through in that, with your florals. This one was actually called Soulmate. Amy Butler I was having a read about this, and it's sort of based on relationships. And she was saying she was inspired by her relationship with her husband, David, and it's all about sort of the synergy and a meeting of different things. And she's bringing in lots of different colours and shapes here and tying those into the collection. Different colourways of some of those. We're incorporating these in our cushion this morning. Actually, no, we're incorporating these later in our sewing machine cover. So you get doubles of some of these, but you can see all the different colourways. So you've got 42 pieces in there. Then you also get 1/2 metre of your marine blue and 1/2 metre of fuchsia, so that lovely bright pink, and then 2 complementary threads as well. So from Gutermann, again, a lot more than you would need to make a small cushion. You can make a much bigger cushion with that and with your charm pack, or you could even use that for a quilting project. So if you've got any ideas of how you might use a charm pack, message us in, let us know. You can message the studio on our watch page on the website. So we've also got another option, again with just different colour options and a different designer charm pack. So perhaps if you like a different style. This is the one that we've actually used to create this little mini cushion here. When I say we, I mean Lucy. Lucy created this. So you can just see how those different patterns have been incorporated. If we just look at the cushion there, you can see this is from Joel Dewberry. And then on the back you've got that, and also here you can just see the solid fabrics there that have been used with that linear detail. So let's look at the charm pack from Joel Dewberry. Again, this one, I don't want to tell you wrong, I believe is this 42 as well? 42 again. So you've got lots of different colour options here, lots of florals, but also those cut crystals that we see, and those sort of more geometric shapes in some of these. So all different designs. These are great for fussy cutting as well because they've got some nice big motifs that can be cut out. But we'll be using this, you'll see this one peeping through in the project that we're working on in this hour. So then you also get a really lovely 2 different linear texture. You've got your heron grey and your sulphur, that one's called, which is sort of a golden yellow, and 2 threads that go with that too. So BUGC54, bug, is our item number for that one, and that's 33.45. So one final bundle option for a cushion, or perhaps if you want to make something else out of it. So this one here is a Caif bundle, so it's a Caif charm pack and then 2 spot-on fabrics to go with it. So let's just show you, there are less pieces in this charm pack, there are 30 pieces. But again, you know, the king of colour, Caif Facet, you've got lots of sort of iconic floral motifs coming in with this one. A slightly more affordable option as you've got less pieces in your charm pack. This one is 30.45. Again, that's like, this one's actually called satin. It's like all of those rings that you have coming through in the pattern of the fabric there. A retro fill with some of these cut crystals. All your reds and burgundies. You've also got some dots. You've got your geometric, nice sharp lines there in those ones. And some more florals here too. So you've also got 2 spot-on fabrics with that one. You've got a lovely soft blue and also your raspberry, which is a nice bold pink. So you've got 2 threads as well, obviously, in that bundle that have been matched colour-wise. So you can just see how they work really well together. I'll just show you those as a little family. OAGC53 is your item number for that one. And again, that's the more affordable option, 30.45. So let's head over to Lucy. I'm going to take the cushion, our little cushion that we were trying to decide.
Throw it at me. That's what John does. John
already go. Go. What are we going to use this cushion for, Lucy?
Well, this is a cushion that I designed just using a simple patchwork block.
Yep.
We were joking it could be the world's largest pin cushion.
It's got lots of pins.
Yeah, like that. But really it's just about this design, and then I want to show you some free motion quilting. It's not something we've done
much of. I've barely touched on free motion quilting.
So I want to talk through some of the basics of free motion quilting and also how to use your fabric to help you with your free motion quilting. So we'll cover that shortly. So the idea from this really came from the book All Things Quilting, And that was just, the book is full of different techniques.
Yeah,
so that's really what I
much
wanted this to be about, was about quilting techniques. So some patchwork techniques and then actually quilting as well. But this book covers literally everything
It's like
that you
an
need to know.
encyclopedia
Yeah,
of
it
quilting.
really, really is.
I'll just show you this. I had another one with I've marked out some pages I wanted to show, but this is very much.
These are my pages marked out.
I've got my own version of marked out pages, but this is it's very much a resource book in terms of like a go-to guide for everything quilting related. So it's not about this isn't about sort of patterns and project inspiration. It's much more about showing you different techniques if you're a beginner, but also if you're a very accomplished quilter. There are lots of different things in here, about not just assembly, but finishing things off, adding a professional touch, and also designing your own quilts and showing you how to do that and talking you through the process for that. So it's a real guide to sort of add to your tool belt, if you like, sort of a course with lots of tips and lots of helpful hints and instructions.
And there's a lot of inspiration in there as well. So they show you, they might talk about a technique and then they show you a picture of a quilt where that technique's been used. So
like
so you can get ideas and you can see the results of that technique being put into practice. It's all well and good talking about a technique. So this is sew and flip. So the sew and flip method here. And those are the blocks I made a quilt using that block. Yeah, I constructed it slightly differently. But you can see that's the block there that we're going to be doing today. So although it doesn't tell you actually how to make that block, once you've got the technique and you understand the technique, you can apply it to make your own designs as well.
And then there are other, let's have a look. What was the other one you'd marked out?
This is for the free motion quilting.
Oh, okay.
So when I come to
this was actually the section, where is it? About quilting design.
Look at that, it's so
beautiful. Aren't they gorgeous? Really lovely. But Alex Anderson as well has she's written over 30 books, so this is over 1 million copies of this book have been sold. It's very much a lesson on everything. So on the back here, it's saying it's a lesson, on fabric, on colour theory, on rotary cutting, on piecing, applique, paper foundation piecing, different hanging sleeves, how to finish it off at the end, doing your labels, your borders, hand quilting and also machine quilting. So it really is, it's a very comprehensive guide.
It absolutely is. There's everything in that book
that you could possibly need to know. I imagine it's the sort of thing you could just have next to your machine, and if you're not sure, you've got it there.
And there's enough detail in there for you to really have a go at everything, which is great because sometimes books will focus on a specific thing and skim over other things, whereas it really is helpful to understand. Yes. And then obviously if you found, you love applique, well then you could get some more books to do with that or whatever. But this literally covers
as an intro
all your bases. Yeah, definitely.
But also if you're a more experienced sewer, this book still has uses, doesn't it? It still has things to offer.
Yeah, definitely.
Was there anything in here that you could learn from this book?
And there are things that I might do that I might have learned one way, and then I can go, I didn't even realise that was a thing, and that's a much easier way of doing it. So you can always learn, new things and new techniques or different ways, and you might try it and go, I prefer that way, or you just realise that
trial and error.
You've been doing it a really difficult way,
making your life really hard.
And there was a much easier way because people develop their own, techniques for doing things, and there is, there are some things that are right and wrong, but it's very sweeping, and there's always tips you can pick up from people. But for me, the inspiration in this book is incredible. There are really some very, very beautiful quilts and just different ideas as well, things that I haven't come across
outside
before.
the box that you might not have thought of. Or...
And colour is so important in patchwork and quilting, and having that section there about colour and being able to look at all those different quilts and seeing how the colours and the patterns have been used in them as well.
Isn't it?
It's really beautiful.
So how did you use this, to contribute to this? What was the connection?
So it was so it's that first
post-it.
Yeah, so that technique of doing the sew and flip. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and this is just a really quick way of creating flying geese or so that's
just so you can see it there.
That's the flying geese block
Here at the top.
up there. So it's slightly different to the way that I would do it, only because this method can be a little bit wasteful, but you can use the scraps for something else if you wanted to. But this is brilliant for quick piecing, you know.
Yeah.
And being able to get, if you struggle with your accuracy, I find this is really helpful. So for beginners, particularly, this method is
good for me
great.
then. Let's go beginners.
Yeah, so you eat this is easy. You've come undone. So for each block, I've used 2 charm squares. So I've used one that's going to be my central feature.
So where you fussy cut something out of the centre.
Yes, and then with the charm packs they're already cut, so you don't really have much
to choose.
But you can go through the pack and pick
the one where you've got a motif in the middle.
Yeah, and then I've picked one of the more geometric ones to use to surround the block, and then you get this secondary pattern of the diamond in the middle. Well. So if you imagine that repeated on a quilt, you know, you'd have another one here and here. You'd have a row of all of those.
I'll just show you that diamond there, you can
which is really pretty.
So you're not only getting that central section, but you're also getting that build-up of the diamond in the middle there.
So if you imagine that repeated, you can see on the edges there, you've got the half of a diamond, and those would keep going. So you sort of create these floating diamonds.
All the way across your...
Yes.
So the one on the bottom of your screen is the charm pack, which is 42 pieces, DSRW 18, which is that Joel Dewberry one that we're using at the moment. So, but the bundle itself, well, you've also, in that bundle, you've got your two solids and also your threads as well. I think that graphic on the bottom of the screen, though, is that just for the charm pack? I don't know if that's the right one.
Yeah, I think that's just
Hannah.
for the charm pack.
Yeah. Oh, no, the graphic's been put in wrong, so we'll just change that for you. That one on the bottom of your screen was just for the charm pack itself. We'll just sort that out. Okay, let's let you crack on.
So the nice thing about these blocks is you don't have to worry too much about measurements. Obviously, your squares are already all cut out for you, so that's the central block taken care of. We don't have to do any cutting. And then for the frame of the central motif there, I'm just cutting one charm square in half both ways. So in
so
half
you can create those little triangles.
Again. Yeah. So the squares are 5 inches. So I'm just going to cut at 2.5, and then again at 2.5. I don't have my rotating mat, which is
okay. Just sorry to interrupt. Just that one on the bottom of your screen. That's the one that we were talking about. That was the charm pack and bundled with your 2 solids. That's the one on the bottom of your screen. Bug BUGC 54, and that is 3345. That's the item number for that. Sorry about that. They had a mix-up upstairs, but that's the one.
So I've just cut that in half and in half again. So we've got 4
squares,
2.5-inch squares essentially, and then I'm just going to draw a line on the back of each one, and that's going to be the line that we sew on. Okay. So when you've been sewing for a while, you don't necessarily need to draw these lines on because you can probably
do it by sight.
Yeah, do it by sight. But even then, I have to say, it is quite difficult to get a completely straight line. So if you're wanting something that's going to look, you know, really neat and perfectly straight, but if you're making a quilt, that's a lot. But once you've done a few, you could just draw lines on a few and sew those, and then you can start to eyeball it more easily, and then you don't need to necessarily draw your lines on. So all I'm going to do is sew these on each corner. So I would do one at a time, but this is essentially what I'm doing. So I'm going to be sewing on my lines each corner.
Oh, I like this.
So you can pin if you feel more comfortable pinning, or you can just go ahead and sew. So I'm just using the normal foot on the machine and reducing my stitch length slightly. I always like to start not directly in the corner, but a bit further down, because that stops it from eating up your fabric.
Oh, so
I just do a little. No, so just do a little back stitch, and then it's not going to eat that up. And then just repeat that on each corner.
So this bundle is just for today. This is the one that's, your Joel Dewberry, where you've got 42 pieces in the charm pack. This is the one that we're working with. And also you've got that really lovely gold and heron grey linear texture solids that we can use for the backing and the binding, and your complementary threads as well. BUGC 54. If that's in your basket, just check that one out. $33.45 for that one.
I love yellow and grey together.
Don't they go really
It seems just like a really classic,
it's quite
colour
classy
combination.
I think.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Very,
I really, really
smart.
like it. And you might notice I'm using yellow thread just now, but that's because I'm going to be doing some quilting later. I would go with a neutral thread for piecing usually. So once you've sewn all your corners on, I'm just going to get rid of that thread. So once you've sewn all your corners on, that's going to be the finished block.
Yeah.
So we just need to trim all of those edges. So just using your ruler, line it up with your 1/4 inch. And you can just trim that. So you can sew those together or keep them for another project if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then is the iron on, Amy?
Let's have a look.
I don't think I turned it off.
I don't think it is, but we can turn it on. Oh no, it is on. It is on.
It is on, great.
Yeah.
So then you're just going to fold these back and give them a press. So I like to fold from the top,
back.
Fold them out, yeah, that way.
Let's move this.
That's just easier to do it that way. So just one at a time. If you do it one at a time, it means you're not going to catch.
You're not going to put, that makes sense.
There's nothing worse than having sewn a block and then, you're pressing distorts it. So just want to do that. And then you can see that is like a square within a square.
It's like a window, do you not think?
Yes,
it's like
it
a little
does.
something peeping through the window.
Yeah, it looks like a little window. But because of how we've constructed it, it's not a square within a square because we've not given ourselves the seam allowance. A square within a square you do slightly differently. So this is just a quicker way of sort of creating that type of effect. But ultimately you're going to have these diamonds floating, and you can see, and the points don't all match because it's not
Because they don't go right across.
completely precise. No. So you don't need to worry about that. It will just blend in together. But it's this part that stands out and these diamonds, which is nice to have that combination of the geometrics there as well. So that's it for the blocks. Quick and easy.
So you would just do that but with all different combinations of colour. And the thing is as well, that with a charm pack, because they've come from the same collection, those colours, like you said, they don't line up there. It doesn't matter because the colours all work together anyway.
Works together.
They're not
really,
random
really
thrown together.
No, absolutely. If you wanted to throw something else in there, you could do. And you could use some of the solids in there as well. So if you didn't want, some people don't like lots and lots of pattern. So you could, if you wanted to make the yellow and grey linear, for example.
So if you didn't want it to be too busy.
Yeah, so all you would need to do for that is cut those into 2.5-inch squares. Yes. And then you've got your bits for the corners if you wanted to do it like that.
You can see how that would start to build up to make one big. You start, like adding these in.
Yeah. Really nice. The whole quilt of these, because they're very quick to do.
Yeah.
They're very quick and easy
tricky.
blocks. No, not
I think it's a very effective. That is just like a window. It looks like something's
really
peeping through.
But that's what's really, you'd almost get that effect more without the pattern in a way. So you can make your charm pack go even further.
And spread it with a solid
or with a solid or with like the linear print, because those do match in beautifully, and have those there and make it go further, or even white or anything,
This is your
lovely.
feature then, just your window.
And then just your window would be
and the
popping
frame
out.
is plain. I see what
but
you're
I do like having that dime,
Yeah.
If
you can. If you've got enough fabric, I guess it depends how big you're making something from using the charm pack, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So for the cushion, I've put 4 blocks together, and then I've just layered this up. So I've got the linear as my backing, and then some wadding, and then I've got a bit of a plant, and the 4 blocks there that have been sewn together already. So I'm going to do a bit of free motion quilting.
We've got the wadding here as well. I'll just grab that. This is like the world's smallest cushion inning. So, this is the wadding here that Lucy's using. If you wanted to, if you want to create it, use it for your cushion, or if you're doing, for your quilt. So this is. Well, it's a funny. I was going to read it in centimetres, but that seems a funny measurement. 45 inches by 60 inches. OBRW 39, and it's a really sort of light, soft wadding, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice, and it's pure white. So
rather than being cream or like
so if you're doing anything that has white in it, it will keep that white really bright and fresh. Yeah, which is nice. So for free motion, I'm going to change the foot. So I'm just taking this off and using the free motion foot that comes with the machine. I like having the clear
toe that you were saying
one
earlier.
so that you can see, and particularly for the quilting that we're going to be doing today, you want to see that. So again, just like with the walking foot I was talking about earlier, you want to make sure that the little I'm so technical, sticky outy bit is over the top of that screw there, because that's what's going to make the spring action as your...
Gives you the ability for the freedom for it to move, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very easy to change that foot on there.
It is really, really easy. So now I need to just think about settings. I might have to look in the manual
Do you want it?
Yes, that's okay.
Of course it is.
Just about what the free motion setting is, because I know there's a couple of different things that you can do with it.
Look in the back. Free motion 68 and 69.
68. Because I just wanted to mention as well, because there are two different feet that come with the machine, so you've got a couple of different options for doing the free motion. So you have the convertible free motion foot, and that's the one that you can adjust as well, and that comes with different feet.
Yeah.
That free motion foot. So that's within that piece of kit, you can change the feet over. So that one that's like a target, you can use that. So if you're getting really, really technical, it has the ability to do that. And you've got all those accessories in there as well. But I'm using just the standard free motion foot, and so then you can just check the settings of that to see what you need to do. And I would always advise that when you change your foot, just to check what settings does your machine need to be on. This pretty much does it all for you, so there isn't that much that you need to check. The foot pressure I keep on 5 anyway. And then there are just certain modes that you can use.
It would tell you which ones to use.
Yeah, so it will tell you which ones you can use. And for this, if we can
and also everything is on there, your tension and your foot, and your feed dog where it needs to be. And
absolutely, and you can use the different plates with it as well, so you can just keep the normal plate or change it if you wanted to. So for this one, what I really like, if we can get a close-up of the foot, I don't know if you'll be able to see, it has 2 little red lines on it, 2 little markings on the front of the foot. And what's nice about that is, because you can move your needle very easily, I can just change the setting and it will move the needle over in line with the line that's on the foot.
Oh, so you can follow that as a guide.
Yeah, so a lot of times what's really difficult about free motion quilting is you've got no guide, but if I put something under that, I just wonder if you can see it slightly better.
It's from the other side.
There's a little red mark. No, it's there, it's at the front.
It's hard to see, isn't it?
It is hard to see, but there's
2
just
tiny little red lines just on there.
2 little lines, and so you can help, you can use that as a guide. A lot of times when people are quilting, so there's one, and there's the other one there. So you've got just 2 marks, and you can move your needle over so that you can use those little lines as a guide, which is just brilliant. It's really, really, it's really quick and easy to do that. And then the other thing that we need to do for free motion quilting is to drop our feed dogs. And there's just a little switch here on the side of the machine. And that's all you do. And that drops.
Why is that? Why do we have to do that?
There. It's so that you can move the fabric around more smoothly. It's not trying to pull it in the one direction. On my basic machine I had previously, when I was trying to free motion quilt with it, it actually seemed to prefer it with the feed dogs up.
Yeah.
But most machines and every sort of free motion guide would recommend that you lower your feed dogs. But you can try it both ways just to see what your machine prefers. But on this one, definitely feed dogs down, and then you can just go for it.
If someone didn't know what free motion quilting is, how would you describe it?
Yeah. Free motion quilting is where you are the one who's setting the length of the stitches. So, you know, it has no impact. Changing your stitch length on your machine has no impact. It's the speed at which you're moving the fabric that affects the stitch length. So you're creating the stitches. So you can move in, and you can move in all different directions. Whereas obviously when you're sewing, you're basically just going forwards, and you might be going forwards and backwards. If you try and pull, a quilt, for example, sideways, you can't. The machine can't do that. It can only go forwards and backwards. Whereas when you're doing free motion quilting, the needle obviously stays in the same position, but it allows you to freely move the quilt around. So because you can do that, you can create all kinds of quilting patterns that you wouldn't be able to do sewing forwards.
And you can either do that straight from your imagination, or following, which is what you're about to do, maybe follow a design that's in the fabric itself and use that as a guide.
Yes. Yeah. So there are things that you can do with your walking foot. So, I can do wavy lines, but I can't go back, I can't go backwards.
On yourself.
Whereas with this one, you really easily can go.
You've got the freedom to move where
you've got the freedom to move. Now, free motion quilting for some people is a really scary thing, and it was for me when I started. And you see these quilts that have been beautifully quilted, and you just think, I can't ever do that. Yeah. But you absolutely can. It just takes a lot of practice. When I say a lot of practice, I mean a lot of practice. Yeah. So it's something that you really want to be set aside some time and dedicate yourself, that every day you're going to spend however much given time doing some free motion quilting. Yeah. So you can just have a go. There's nothing to stop you. You won't break your machine. Just have a go and see how you like it. And then if it's something that you want to get better at, you need to practice, like learning an instrument or anything
like that. Yeah.
It just takes a bit of practice. But what I'm going to show you today is really, really fun, and it's a really easy way of doing free motion quilting without having to think about what pattern you're going to do.
So you've not got a design, you've just got to follow.
Yeah, and I think that's something else that puts people off, is they think, I love the free motion quilting, but I don't know how to get that pattern like that, or my mind doesn't think that way, or, whatever. Whereas doing it this way, you're literally using the fabric.
Like we've got on here. You're literally using the design on the fabric, aren't you, to sort of do.
Yeah.
So like with this one here, with the flower motif, just following that as a shape to go all the way around.
And it's not perfect. I haven't been perfect with it. I was doing this a bit quickly, but you can see how it just outlines and it creates a texture.
It gives depth. It's more,
and then I've gone round the white bit there as well, and then I've just echoed the shapes of the blue there, and then I've gone round these. You can't see it because I did that in yellow, but I've gone round all those petals there to create texture as well. You can feel it it does feel. Yeah, and then with the grey with the leaf, and then even with the geometric, I've just followed the line. So I used grey and yellow in this one just to outline the shapes.
It also makes it feel more solid and more rigid. It gives it more sort of, I don't know about durability, but it certainly gives it more strength. It feels like it.
Depending on the pattern that you're doing. So if you can look at this one. So where I've copied gone over the leaf shapes, you can see you've got a lot of very, very tiny stitches. And because I'm going backwards and forwards and following the shapes of the leaves, you get a build-up of thread. So that
is going to create, that is a thickness, and it is a strength, really, adding to that.
Yeah, definitely. And then I've just followed the lines again here. And so you don't have
detail. It's just it's embellishment and detail.
Exactly. It's just picking things out, and it's a really fun way of just having a go. And if you didn't want to do it directly, onto your patchwork, you could practice first. Just take one little square
and try and follow.
Just have a go on that and see how you get on. But you'll see, like I didn't use these ones.
Well, that would be much harder, a smaller pattern.
You could, but I could have done the zigzags here, or, you know, there are still things you can pull out or echo the shapes within the fabric. You don't have to necessarily follow exactly the lines.
But it's easier on one where you've got a big motif, isn't it? That's what
Yes.
we're saying, you know, like these sort of ones.
It shows up better, and also you're getting more practice in because it's not quite so sort of fiddly.
Yeah.
It's something you do need to be careful when you're doing free motion quilting. You're very inclined to sort of hunch, you know, and be looking at what you're doing. Yeah. So it's really important that you're
posture and poise, that
you're conscious of that. So when you are free motion quilting, another thing that you need to be mindful of is stopping and starting. Okay, so the more that you do, the more you become familiar with where you're going to begin and where you're going to end, and you want to try and do as continuous line as you possibly can.
Yeah.
When you're stopping and starting, there are a couple of ways that you can deal with it, because obviously you're going to have bits of thread hanging around. So there are a couple of different things you can do. You can stay in one place and make a few stitches, although what that does then is bundles the stitches on the back, and you can get a lot of birds nesting and things like that. So really what you should do is tie in your threads.
Okay.
So I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to show you the cheat in a minute.
Okay.
So don't be put off.
No.
Don't be put off by this. But I'm going to start with what you technically should be doing when you are free motion quilting. So what you want to do is you need to lower the foot. Just drop your needle down, bring it up, and pull the thread. So you're holding on to the thread from the top thread.
Let's just wait so we can see that on there. I just want them to be able to see.
So you lower your foot down, and then drop your needle down into your fabric, and then lift your needle up, holding onto this thread. You want to pull that thread, and it will pull the bottom thread up. So
up and out of the...
Yeah. So I've got a little bit of bobbin thread there, so you can use, you know, something to help you grab hold of that. And that's my bobbin thread.
Yeah.
There. And then I just want to get that out of the way. And then what I want to do is just hold onto these threads when I begin. So my foot's lowered, I just lower the needle in. And then I just want to hold onto these threads. I can do a few stitches. And then when I've finished, I tie them off and I bury them in the quilt.
Okay. So rather than having that big bulk of thread, if you started it in one place, you've... Yeah.
But that's why you want to do less stopping and starting.
Because you'll be doing that a lot.
Yeah. Tying in. But there just are some patterns where that's going to happen, and sometimes it's just going to...
You can't avoid it. Yeah.
Be inevitable. Because this is a cushion, and we are just practicing, I'm just going to do a locking stitch. Okay? So this is entirely cheating. I wouldn't recommend doing this on a quilt because you'll end up with knots all over the back of your quilt. But just because it's practice and nobody's going to see the back...
Go for it.
I'm just going to be doing locking stitches.
You've got permission.
I just don't want anyone being angry with me for not showing it the right way.
She's done a disclaimer.
But yeah, I don't want anyone put off by doing free motion quilting because they don't want to bury threads.
Yeah.
And also don't want, you know, the time that it takes to do that. But while you're practicing...
And also, if you're going to start with something like a cushion, if it means it's the difference between you trying it or not, you know.
So if you don't have so you can use a locking stitch on your machine if your machine comes with one, this one does. It will just automatically do that locking stitch there for me. If you don't, what you want to do is start sewing, but just stay in one place. So just hold your fabric and let your needle go up and down a few times, and it will create a horrible, messy knot on the back, but at least you know your stitches aren't going to come out.
Place.
So even though this is practice, if it turns out you love it, you can turn it into a cushion and no one needs to see the back. So that's how you begin, and also how you would finish off as well. When you are practicing, it's nice to work with something small rather than a larger quilt to get used to it.
Yeah, a bit more manageable,
A bit more manageable. Some people will then hold on to the sides, which you can do, but you've got to think about when you've got a larger quilt, you can't do that.
No.
Yeah, because your arms would be right out there.
Yeah.
But you can grab your quilt like that, but you want that area to stay flat. So if you're a complete beginner, it's probably best to get used to positioning your hands like
Yeah.
this.
This is where this extra throat space here comes in really useful.
Really useful. So then all you're going to do is you're not pushing and pulling, but you're just lightly holding,
Giving it a bit of a
holding the fabric,
guide.
and you're going to move it where you want it to go, okay? So another reason for avoiding gripping is so you're not hurting your joints in your hands. But
Keep it a bit more relaxed if you can.
try and keep it relaxed. You'll find what works best for you, and you can go with that. You can get gloves that have grip on.
Really?
And they're helpful for free motion quilting as well. Yeah.
Let's see how you do it.
That just takes some of the pressure. So pressure's on with me.
Taking a deep breath.
The other thing I am going to say, what I love about this machine I was saying earlier is I go really quickly. I'll do it now just to show you how really bad it can be.
Speedy.
If I'm going really quickly, my stitches will end up a total mess.
Yeah.
What we're looking for is the balance between the speed at which we're moving the fabric and the speed of the machine is going. So
Yeah, that it's
how
stitching
fast
at.
the machine is going. So this is going to totally depend on you, how
Much
fast,
you move
yeah,
it and
how much you move it,
yeah.
and it's up to you to determine what that balance is. Okay. So if I just go really fast. Just to demonstrate hideously.
Just to show what...
Just to show you what will happen, okay? Because this is going to show you what I mean. I've just done yellow on yellow, which is not great. But when I'm going really fast and moving the fabric, you get these the tiny stitches. And then if I'm going fast and moving the fabric slowly, you get these giant stitches.
Longer stitch, yeah.
So it's about creating that relationship where your stitches become even, okay? So
that's what makes good free motion.
Free motion. So I'll stitch this now on grey, just to show you my stitches. Just unthreaded the needle. What's really changed for me using this machine is that having that ability to slow down. And so I can really find that perfect balance and get much neater stitches with my free motion quilting than I ever could before. I've just pulled it out again. I don't know what's wrong with me. Because I can reduce the speed
you can tailor it so you can then move it in balance with how you're moving that quilt and how you're...
And that's made a massive difference. So I take the speed way down because I'm just going too fast.
Okay.
So then how fast I'm moving determines the stitches. I'm going to pull that out of the way. And it's okay to have smaller stitches when you're doing free motion. You know, you don't necessarily need to have great big stitches.
This feels more in control, like you feel like you're on top of it.
Way more in control. It's made such a difference. And then all I'm going to do, I'm just following these lines. And you can see I'm not turning the fabric, and this is really key. Because when you're quilting, you can't be turning the whole quilt around.
Because it's too big.
It's just too big. So all the designs that you're doing...
you go top to bottom rather than...
or around, and I'll do some curved ones in a second. But so you can see that, so you can see my stitches there. Yeah, it is really difficult.
If you can just see those, we're just going to get as close as we can so you can see that sort of outline. Just here. It's coming.
You can see how that's picked up. You know, any part that you quilt becomes flatter, and the part that's unquilted becomes more raised, and so that's what gives it the texture to it. Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, you can just, this is practice. Straight lines can be tricky.
Yeah.
Doing it with free motion, but that's where having something like this, where you're practicing and doing these different angles, you know, is fantastic. Really,
you made it look very easy. Someone's just messaged in. I'm not sure if we've got this. First of all, someone's asked, can you do this with a walking foot? I didn't have a name on that.
No, you can't. You can do sort of wiggles and swirly things with a walking foot. I've shown that before on another demo when I was doing a quilt. but you can't go backwards and forwards, and you can't move it because you've got the two feed dogs. You've got the feed dogs
that's trying to even it out.
Even if you drop the feed dogs on your machine, on your walking foot, you've still got feed dogs on the top. And with a regular foot, because of the pressure, it doesn't work the same way. The reason you can do free motion quilting is because of this spring that allows the foot to move up and down and dropping your feed dogs. So you're setting the tension. Any other foot, it will not.
But you get this foot with this machine, so it's a free motion foot.
You get two free motion feet with this machine. Yeah, so you can really go free.
So you could quilt with a walking foot, but you wouldn't do free motion quilting with a walking foot. You can't do free motion quilting. Okay.
You can do different patterns, but you can't do what I'm doing now. You
couldn't move freely
with a walking foot. No.
So we've had. Morning, Marion. This is Marion from Surrey. Morning, ladies. I love Lucy.
Oh, thanks, Marion.
I tried free motion sewing and was too nervous, so ended up disappointed with a terrible neck ache.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So you have to be careful of that. We've lost the end of your message. It just got cut off your message box. But you have to. But you have to just, and then the end of the message, can you send us the rest of your message again, Marion? It just says, but you have just and then we don't have the end of the sentence. So just send us that end. But did you succeed? Did you manage in the end to like it? We don't know. We need to know the end of the story.
We need to know what the end is.
You've got half your story. Let us know. And one more question. Was that on the iPad? Let's see. Okay. Oh, it's an email. Do you use free motion before binding?
Yes, so you do all your quilting before you bind it. So at this stage, literally, this is what your quilt looks like. So just imagine this is much larger. So I've got my quilt backing, my wadding, and my quilt top. And we've got extra wadding and backing all around the edges. And that's really important because when you're quilting, it can distort slightly, although you should be basting very well, but it will suck it in, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got enough backing and wadding, it can slide under, and then you end up with your quilt and you've got nothing behind it.
No.
So you do all of your free motion quilting, and then you trim it up, and then you put the binding on.
So the binding's after.
Yeah, so the binding is the final part. So I'm going to do some of this.
Oh, we did a flower.
Yeah, flower. I might do this flower down here because I've already done that one, and I just like to change things up a little bit.
So I like the dance.
Yeah. So I'm just going to do this one. I'm going to do it in the yellow, and hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit, but perhaps not. But so this is doing curves, and this is where I really like having that line on the foot, so that I can see where I'm.
You can use that. Yeah.
Yeah. Where my needle's going in, where I'm starting, and where I'm going. So again, I'm just putting my hands either side. I'm going to do a locking stitch because I'm just quicker and easier, but don't do it on a quilt.
Okay.
And then once that's done, then I can get going. So I'm not pushing, I'm not pulling. I'm literally just following it, and I want to try and maintain the same sort of speed. So I like to have my needle moving quickly, and I'm moving the quilt more slowly. So this will give me small, small stitches.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I feel in control, and I prefer it like that. So I'm going to end with a locking
we've got the end of Marion's message. Hi, Marion here. Hi, Marion. Thanks for getting back in touch. Lucy has just encouraged me to try again. Great teacher, brilliant tips.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay!
Brilliant. That's a win.
Wonderful. Do.
Thanks, Marion.
Yeah, please do. So you can see here where that, it sort of sucks it in.
Yeah, it's pinching it.
It pinches it in. And so this becomes like a relief. So anything that's not quilted
has a bit of space.
Stands out. And so all I've done, I went round once. And I'm not perfectly on the lines, but that's okay. It just gives the idea of it. And I probably would do it in a pink thread rather than a yellow. But I've just gone around once and then gone back in and echoed it again.
What's nice about
that?
So
I'm just
flower,
following
it almost
the
gives
shapes.
it a puffiness, doesn't it?
Exactly,
It's giving it that height.
You've got that. Yeah, you've got that kind of height, and then you can see the horrible.
She's just going to
hide. Yeah, that's the horror. No, look though. Do look, because this is what I'm telling you. You don't do this on a quilt because it'll be horrible. No. You do need to be pulling your threads up from the top and tie them in if you're quilting.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do a row of very, very tiny stitches This is more once you're comfortable doing it, but you do a row of very, very tiny stitches, and then you can just clip your threads.
Okay, and then it would be neat on the back.
Some people don't like the effect of that, so it's up to you.
It does look lovely on the back, like on that mini quilt that we had in the one before, when you have that quilting shape. It does add a texture to the back as well.
And that I did with that tie in some threads. I did do a bit of reversing, which you shouldn't really be doing either, but that was just more for speed. But doing that, yes, I would have been tying in all of those threads. Yeah. So again, I'll just do the leaf just to show. So I'm keeping it the same way.
Yeah. The fabric
all the time. Yeah, the fabric is the same way. And actually, what I would have done if I was quilting this is I would have done the flower and just kept going and moved on to the leaf. I wouldn't be stopping and starting.
So you would do this whole bit in one go?
So yeah, I'd probably try and do the whole bit in one go. And that will mean crossing back over bits that you've already done, you know, going back on yourself. But these are all skills that you learn as you're free motion quilting. So, and you'll see now that I need to do it. So I'm going down the leaf, and I might go and do this leaf. And then I'm going back over where I've just sewn. Can you see that? So I'm going back down the stem, if you will, and using that as my guide to travel along and just do the shape of those leaves.
Oh, I've had such lovely messages this morning for you, Lucy. Look at this, another one. Vivian from Nottinghamshire. Good morning, Vivian. Thank you so much. I'm new to free motion embroidery, and Lucy has taught me so much this morning. I'm now eager to try more.
Yay, brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Thank you,
That's
Vivian.
the whole point of sewing quarter. It's great when people... we love hearing from you, and let us know. Send us a picture, Vivian, once you've done it, if you do some free motion embroidery.
Yeah. So this is, I'm really only touching on the very, very basics.
Yeah.
But even doing it on fabric like this will give you a real, idea of the things that you can do. And it's also a good way to train your mind to think about, if I want to do that pattern, how do I have to do it? So I'm going to show one more. I've got time.
So the machine, we wanted to just chat a bit more about the machine. If you missed this morning at 8 o'clock, we were looking at this Elna 680. This is the machine that Lucy actually has lots of features. Why do you love this particularly for free motion embroidery?
I think it genuinely has made my free motion better.
Yeah.
It really, really has made my free motion far better than it was on my other machine. My other machine wasn't made for doing anything like this. The fact that there's not lots to do. All I've done is drop my feed. I've just raised them. Drop my feed dogs. Just check now. Yeah, just drop them with that switch, and then that's it. The machine does everything for me. Obviously, I am controlling the stitches, but just the smoothness of it and the way it runs,
the fluidity.
Yeah, having this more space is. I mean, it's honestly, I was like emotional. Yeah. It's so dreamy, and it has made a really, really big difference. Of course, it comes with that table as well. So if you're doing a quilt,
want even more space,
you've got more space, and you can, spread your hands out and concentrate on an area when you're quilting. But I haven't even tried the other free motion foot, know, so there's even more possibilities that I can do with that one. But it's just lovely. Even funny things like the light on this is really clear, beautiful. You can see it
there on your screen.
Yeah, it's beautifully lit. It lights it up really, really well. I believe it's an LED light.
Check it. There it is. There's the light. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just
see the workings of the machine.
You don't have to unscrew anything. You can get in there and clean it really easily. It's been created by somebody that sews for people who sew.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just incredible. And
great.
The more I learn about it, the more I just...
Lucy, we've got to go back over and look at these bundles.
Oh,
but you're
okay.
I know. We always don't...
I'll do more another time. I'll do more free motion.
We'll just do another free motion embroidery.
Yeah, because there's so much to cover. But at least this gives you a starting
an insight
point
into how to do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll back again in the next hour. What are we remind me what we're doing?
Machine cover.
The cover. That was the one that you want to take home.
Yeah, I love it.
So Lucy will be back in just a minute. But we're just going to look at these bundles. I'll take this cushion with me. I bet you're going to stay here and finish this now. I'll just be hearing.
No, I might just do a little bit.
I'll see you in a second. So we had 3 different bundles this morning for doing a cushion, incorporating a charm pack for, if you wanted to do a quilt or a cushion, different options from different designers. So the one we've been working with this morning is the Joel Dewberry. That's the one that you can see on this cushion here. The designs that we've used, creating these little windows of colour. within the different blocks of the cushion itself. So the charm pack has 42 pieces in it, all different, lots of different designs in there, lots of different pinks and turquoises and pinks and yellows. So you can see these here just as an example of the sort of designs you've got in there. But I think you've had a really good insight in that, just seeing Lucy doing that free motion embroidery with it this morning. So the bundle comes with two linear texture fabrics. So you've got a lovely sunshine yellow and your heron grey. And also your two complementary threads as well, which are perfect for the backing. BUGC54 is your item number for that one. Now, if you do just like the charm pack that we've been working with this morning, and you're not necessarily planning on using it for a cushion and you just like the different designs, you can buy that separately as well. We've got that on its own in today's show. So that's the one on your screens now. Again, it's this 42-piece charm pack. All of these 5-inch squares, a lovely, a real taster of that atrium range, that collection. All these different gorgeous fabrics. So that's $19.95, and then the bundle is the one that that comes with your threads as well. So then this one is a different bundle option. This is a brand new charm pack. It's a brand new collection from Amy Butler that we've not had here at Sewing Quarter. So this one is called Soulmate, and you can again see these lovely bright colours. We're working with this in the next hour, so you're going to get to see more of this. And that's coming with two solids and your threads as well. MUGC42, that one's $27.95. And again, that's 42 pieces in that charm pack. You can buy this on its own too. So again, same as that Joel Dewberry. If you want the Amy Butler one on its own, you can just purchase that separately. Let me just show you some of these gorgeous sort of ditzy prints here. We'll have a bit more time to show you this in the next hour. JTRW34, just for the charm pack on its own, that's Soulmate. And finally is a K Facet bundle. Oh, the thread's gonna roll. So you've got a 30-piece charm pack from K Facet and two spot-on fabrics. So it's those classic King of Colour, lots of motifs there with that retro sort of feel. OAGC53 is your item number for that one, and that's $30.45. Again, for your 2.5 meters of fabric, charm pack, and your threads. So Lucy's back for our last hour, and we'll be back in 3 minutes. We're going to be doing a sewing machine cover, which Lucy was really excited about because she said, it fits my own machine, she can take it home and use it at home. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in 3 minutes, and we'll get cracking with that sewing machine cover. See you then.
Follow us on Instagram. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to get our latest posts. This month, Love Patchwork and Quilting magazine are celebrating their 50th issue, and we're marking the occasion with a quilting extravaganza. Join us on Wednesday the 19th of July for a morning of shows dedicated to all things quilting. The Love Patchwork and Quilting team will be taking over the studio to showcase some exciting projects, must-have tools, fabulous fabrics and top tips. With special guests such as Lucy Brennan and an incredible half-price Love Patchwork and Quilting subscription offer, this quilting special is a real must-watch. So whether you're looking to expand your mind or just your fabric stash, tune in on Wednesday the 19th of July from 8 AM to 12 noon, only on Sewing Quarter Freeview Channel 78. Did you know there are multiple ways you can contact us, even if it's just to ask a question? Our friendly team are always on standby. You can call our customer service team at 0800 112 4433, email us at help@sewingquarter.com, visit our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter @SewingQuarter, and even message us through our website, and our presenters will answer your questions live on air. Christmas is coming early to Sewing Quarter Studio, and we're eagerly awaiting the arrival of a very special visitor. As part of our Christmas in July series, Mandy Shaw will join us on Saturday the 22nd of July for 2 fun-filled shows packed with project ideas. Among Mandy's seasonal delights is this adorable reindeer decoration, as well as a festive mouse trio. What's more, if you visit our Facebook page after the shows, you can catch a live Q&A with John and Mandy at 12:30 p.m. Mandy will answer your questions and give us the lowdown on her forthcoming workshop at the Festival of Quilts. So join us for Mandy's Retro Christmas on Saturday the 22nd of July, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
Join us on Facebook. Simply search for the Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more. There are 2 days till Christmas, and prepare to expand your stash with festive fabric finds from our Tash. Join us for Christmas in July, July the 21st to the 25th.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love.
Good morning, welcome back. Lucy and I were just having a little dance in that break. We're getting ready for our last hour here this morning. We've had an extravaganza of Lucy Brennan. So we've got some gorgeous Amy Butler fabrics in this hour. So these are the ones that I just started introducing before the break in the charm pack, but we've got them in fat quarters. So this Soulmate collection is brand new. We've not had it. I've never seen it on the show before, and we've got 2 different colour options for that. But first of all, today is Love Patchwork and Quilting Day here at Sewing Quarter. So Love Patchwork and Quilting are part of our immediate media family. They're part of us here at Sewing Quarter, and it's their 50th issue today. So as a result of that, we're doing a really great offer with them where you can get 50% off your annual subscription. So if you head to the website, you can go to click on that banner at the top that says Love Patchwork and Quilting 50th issue special offer. And you can subscribe, so it's 13 issues in a year, so just a fraction over 1 a month. And it makes every magazine $2.99, so it's half price. And you can subscribe to that. That's for today only, so if you do want to do that, you can just click through to the website and sign up for your subscription on there now. Do that today if you don't want to miss out. And it's a really fun, trendy magazine. Lots of our guest designers, I was going to say designer guests, lots of our guest designers work for the magazines, and they design different patterns and ideas and inspirations in there. And lots of them come with free gifts as well. So for $2.99, a month, it's a really great value for different tips and ideas. So as I said, we've got 2 different bundles this morning for this sewing machine cover that we're making, and they're both from the Amy Butler Soulmate collection. This is the one that's been inspired by her relationships, her marriage to her husband, and it's all about, she talks about the synergy of the fabric and the meeting together of different colours and of different patterns and designs. So I'm going to start by looking at, which one are we starting with? This darker one, okie doke. So it's 2 different colourways, but similar designs. You're getting 12 fat quarters in this pack, and then you get 2, you've got a metre of your, is it a metre? We're just checking that. I'm pretty sure it's a metre of your linear texture fabric and half a metre of your solid. Yeah, that's right. So you get a metre of linear, half a metre of your solid, and then you've also got your thread too to go with that. But let's look at the fat quarter bundle. You've also got your wadding in there, but the bundle is what you really want to see, the pattern, the fabric, the designs. So let's have a look at some of these different colours. You've got your navies and reds, which are really gorgeous. Then you've got some really bright florals here as well, introducing all different shapes and these lovely yellows and greens. Again, that's a different colourway in that. These are a bit, who does that remind me of? like William Morris, those sort of, that's these sort of designs here, almost like wallpaper. Really gorgeous prints. Then you've got some ditzy ones here too. So on a nice navy background with your magentas and your turquoises. Again, this is a different colourway option, so the reverse of that with pink on the bottom. Then you've got different triangles. Let's just add some others onto this. So that's your kit there. So as I said, 1.5 meters of fabric, 12 fat quarters, your wadding and your thread. I'm just going to lay these other ones on top so you can see these too. I want you to see all of them. Okay, so these are your other 6 that are in that bundle. I'm just laying out now. Again, you've got lots of sort of smaller intricate shapes and then your florals as well. Oh, this is a lovely one, sort of a dusty purple. So these were your other 6. You get 12 in total. Those were the other 6 there that you might not have seen. A really lovely collection. I love this one. I'm going to open that one out. You can just see that really sort of gorgeous print, but also you've got those spots of bright, bold colour in your reds and greens and aquas there. QVGC58 is your item number for that one. That one's 69.45, 12 fat quarters, your 1.5 meters of fabric, your wadding and your thread. Then your other colour option, so this is again from the Soulmate collection from Amy Butler, but this is a different colour palette. So you've got some, well, just different colour options. I'll show you those. So first of all, you've got that ditzy one again, but this is on a lovely bright blue. Then you've got one on a lilac, that same ditzy print. These are really soft as well, 100% cotton. These are actually, well, we'll talk about this in a second. About the fabric. Just laying all of those out so you can see. And then you've also got, these are great if you wanted to fussy cut some sort of slightly bigger motifs you can see there in that floral. So that's your first 6. Then I'm going to lay the other 6 on top so you can just see those. Different colour options, again, in your cream. Producer Hannah's liking the colour palette of this one. As does Lucy. Lucy is a fan. It's I just think this print is really gorgeous in all those different colour options. And then you've got your sort of much busier. These have more of a vintagey feel to them. Those florals there. It's just that last one. Let me hold those up so you can see. So you're getting 12 fat quarters again, and then you've got your linear texture fabric in a much softer blue in this collection. This is a duck egg blue, and then you've also got your cream as well, 1/2 meter of that. And then you've got your wadding and your thread. BSGC25 is your item number for that one. So let's head back over to Lucy and see this sewing machine cover that we're making with our Amy Butler. Last one.
Hello,
You made it to your last.
I can't believe
You're
it.
nearly there. Lucy's doing 4 hours today. I think it's the first time any
yeah, I think so.
any guest has done 4 hours straight through. Hardcore.
Yeah. It's flying by, though.
It does go so quick.
How we keep running out of time, I don't know.
I want to do a bit more.
Yes.
But you don't want to speak too quick or people can't keep up.
No.
So the Amy Butler fabric, is this is a slightly different
It's
fabric.
different.
We wanted to talk about that, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely. This is printed on, it's not regular quilting cotton that you'd be familiar with. It's printed on a very like soft cotton poplin. So it's a high thread count poplin, so it feels like lawn. It feels like lawn fabric. When I got it, I thought it was lawn fabric. I went and looked it up.
To check?
Yeah, to check what it was. It's actually a poplin, but it's so soft. It's gorgeous to work with.
It's slightly thicker, isn't it? It's sort of. Would you
I don't
say?
know
Or
whether you would say
it's more. What's the word I'm looking for? Like not silky.
It's
silkier.
definitely silkier. It's
it's
definitely silkier. It does feel slightly finer to me than traditional quilting cotton.
Yeah,
but
it's the silkiness that gives you
it's
that
the
sort of-
silkiness. So it's like a brand that does a lot of lawn fabric.
Yeah.
It feels just like that. It's
related to the capital of England.
It's not as fine as that, so it's not quite as drapey, but it's very, very drapey. It's absolutely gorgeous fabric to work with. I hadn't seen that brown bundle. I think I'm going to have to get that now.
You like that one
Yeah,
too?
I really like that. And brown is, I love brown, but it's a very hard
It's a hard colour to get right.
And it's
I
a hard
think.
colour to find in modern fabric as well, and that's absolutely just gorgeous. But I love Amy Butler, I love her prints.
It was a bronzy brown.
Yes,
yeah.
and with the mint as well. Oh, it's lovely. It's like mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Oh, getting hungry now.
Love it. But yeah, so I did just want to, because I wouldn't want people to get this and
to expect it to be
expect it to be
to feel like normal quilting cotton.
thicker than it is, but it is very dense. It's a very high thread count. It's not at all.
That's what I meant.
It's
by
not see-through.
Yeah,
It's very, very dense. It's not fine in a see-through-y way at all.
No.
This is a really, really quality fabric.
So this is what we're mating. This is why I was just edging over towards our sewing machine cover. So it fits perfectly on that machine.
It just so happens it fits perfectly on my machine. This is a pattern from the book, and it literally
happens to fit
fit my machine. So if it fits this one, which is probably slightly bigger than a standard one, it definitely will fit
most standard machines. So let's have a look. So the book that we're working with today is a fat quarter book. So there's loads of different projects in there utilising fat quarters. I've earmarked some projects. I'll show you some of those.
Yeah, I've made some of them before.
Have you?
Yeah, from this book, but I keep coming back to it because I just love it.
Like,
the projects
and also
in
we
it
have
are
fat
brilliant.
quarters. Everyone's got fat quarters in their section. So this is the sewing machine cover that we're making today. We're going to talk through how to do that. But there are loads of different ideas utilising those fat quarters. But we'll have a look more closely at that in a second. Let's look at the sewing machine
Actually, just
cover.
realised I sewed it upside down, didn't I? But anyway,
You just did it the other way
it's a
around.
design
I noticed that
feature.
this morning. I thought you'd chosen to do it.
I just
pretend
decided.
You did.
Yeah, shouldn't have said anything, should I?
So,
it doesn't matter. It
no,
doesn't
of
matter
course
that
not.
it's upside down.
Let's move this so we can see. Do you want to hold that a second?
Yeah, sure.
Let's move this. It's all getting a bit busy on our table today.
Oh, I've just realised why I did it this way. There is a reason.
Well,
Shall I show you? Because I fussy cut the heads of... I decapitated the birds from the print. So I fussy cut for these 4 squares. I've got the heads of all of the birds in them. So if you can... I don't know if you can see it. So I've got these 2 facing this way. I've got a bit carried away with myself. So these 2 birds are facing in this way, and these 2 birds are facing in
So they're
this
having
way. So
a
looking at each other.
loving look across your sewing machine cover. So the bundle that's on your screen at the moment is this one that we're working with on the sewing machine cover. So that's the one that's on the main side part of your screen. The one that's on the bottom is the one that incorporated more of those browns and bronzes, just so you know. So how did we start this?
Okay, well, so everything is in the book, all the instructions, and essentially it's built up of rows. So you have the row of the crosses, the row of the rectangles, and the row of this sort of zigzag. So in the book, I'm trying not to sneeze.
Look at the light. Just sneeze and get it out of the way.
I think
I'll go like this.
No, it's one of those ones that's going to go. Do you know, I know it's not coming. It'll come in about 5 minutes. Yeah, so in the book, she actually used one print for this, but I chose
I like it with different.
I chose to use, you know, because there's so many lovely prints in the bundle as well. So I decided to show some of those off. So rather than do it from one, but you could use one
if you wanted to.
And similarly for all of it, actually, you can chop and change. And I used 2 different colours for that because I really love this print. I think that's gorgeous. So I used the 2 different colourways in this, and I intentionally set these 2 so the arrows were pointing in towards the cross. It's these little things.
So thought out.
And then these 2 so the arrows are coming away from the centre of the cross. So you just got a little bit of a difference between the 2. They're not exactly the same. But no, I did that intentionally.
No.
You think about things like that when you play with fabric all day
you
long.
Just turning it. Let's turn it that way. Turn it this way.
Exactly. And then the back is just made up of 1 fat quarter. And then on the inside, she'd just used a plain lining, I'm assuming. But I
Fat quarter
decided to
crazy.
patch it and use 2 of the fat quarters
you've got
to
them
make
in the
back.
bundle, so-
And then also it becomes reversible. So should one side
I
get
show?
dusty,
If you don't use your machine,
You can
but
just
you can
flip
pop it
it
on that
over.
way around.
yeah.
Oh, let's just tie
And
that
have,
over.
and also because you've got those beautiful big florals, I just thought that's a really nice way of showing off that print, isn't
Well, also if your
it?
machine's in a room and you just want to change things up a bit, or you've got some new accessories, you can turn it
I'm like
over.
that. I get bored. I swap my cushions and
Yeah,
different
turn them
things.
over
So yeah,
and-
you can just flip it over.
Gives you another option.
Yes. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to do the patchwork. So
Okay.
I'm going to start off with, oh, and you've got these lovely ties as well. So I use 2 different prints
Fat
to make
quarters.
the
So how many
make the
different?
ties.
You use most of the different fat
I
quarters.
use most of
just
them.
to
I think there was
just to
2 or
incorporate them.
3. Oh, in fact, they're there. So there's maybe 3 I didn't use.
Okay.
I think there was 3 I didn't use, but I still have plenty left over of the other
Bits and pieces.
It's not whole, fat quarters. So that doesn't take up very many to do this project at all, and you still would have some left over. So we've got different techniques to create these rows. So the rectangles are really quite straightforward, so I'm not actually going to demonstrate that, but the measurements given are in the book. And that's just that central row there, and then top and bottom you've just got, I believe, 1.5-inch strips that run between those rows and top and bottom, and then either side as well. So it's just framed and sashed with these just strips,
In
you know,
there.
in between the blocks.
And when you quilt that, it really adds that.
Yes, I
detail.
quilted it just in the same way because actually I think it's really effective, and you still see those shapes really nicely as well.
Absolutely.
But you could free motion quilt it. In fact, you could free motion quilt
The back.
do what we've
or
just done with the
flowers.
That would look really nice as well. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to do the crosses first of all and show you how to do that.
I think Viv, who messaged in, who said she's now going to do her free motion quilting. Viv, we should make a sewing machine cover, and you should do it on the back. Send us a
Yes,
picture.
great. Things like that are great to practice with, because it's nicer to start on something smaller than a whole quilt.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bit more manageable.
Yeah, but build up as well. That's another thing you can do. So start with just a little test piece, and then do a cushion front, and then do a sewing machine cover.
Grow with it.
Get bigger and bigger, and that's the easy way of doing it.
So we're going foundation paper
So we're
piecing.
foundation paper piecing for this. The template is...
Producer Anna just screamed in my ear. She
loves it.
She loves foundation paper
loves
piecing.
it. She's doing a llama.
Yeah.
She's really...
She's got
and
really
for somebody
into
that
it.
had not quilted at all...
nothing.
And
Working
now
here
she's,
is just,
she's been watching the shows and she's doing foundation paper piecing. It's brilliant. You're going to have to show that now,
have to
aren't
see
you?
the llama,
We
Hannah.
have
You're
to
not gonna
see
get
the
away with
llama.
that.
No. So the template is in the book. It comes full size. I
Okay.
will say, when you photocopy the page of the book, there is only one on the page, and you need 16.
Okay.
So I would suggest photocopy 4 or more, cut them out, layer them, and
Onto
then
a page,
photocopy
and then
that
just do one big
sheet.
page,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just easier to do it that way. So you've got a little bit of cutting out, but it's not too bad. But you need 16 because you don't reuse
These, they stay.
foundation paper piece template, because you've got to rip them out.
Yeah.
When you
Once you've
finish
done it.
piecing, you've got to rip them out. So this is really simple. We're only doing 3 pieces. Don't want anybody to be scared of it.
People freak out a little bit
People
sometimes.
do freak out a little
Yeah.
bit, and I understand why. I do understand why it is, a bit more complicated. But the way of thinking about it is you're sewing on the lines.
Yeah.
Okay, so this becomes the back of your block, and then this is the front.
Yeah.
So you always need to put the fabric to the paper wrong sides together.
So you can see
That
as well
makes
where you're going to
sense.
stitch.
Yes. So this is going to be the front.
You see that there?
That's going to be the front, and that's the back.
Yeah.
So you don't, and dear me in my tiredness, how many times I did this the other day, I can't tell you. Honestly, I did it about 3 times. I don't know what's
Really?
wrong with me. Yeah, foundation paper piece all the time.
You
I
need a
kept doing
coffee.
it that way.
Yeah.
I know. So just be and it is something to be mindful of, even somebody that does it all the time,
Okay.
But it's once you've got it, it's, it is quite straightforward. So then we're going to be sewing she gives you the cut measurements for these. So even though you're sewing with bigger pieces,
it shows you what size to cut it to do it.
It makes sense. So I actually think these should be triangles, which I haven't cut up. So I'm just going to do that very quickly, because I'd not done that. So you start off cutting squares, and then you subcut them into triangles. So for each block, then you've got your two pieces from the one square. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then when you're positioning your paper, you want to make sure that on your stitch line, you've got fabric covering at least 1/4 inch. So I don't want to put I'm not lining up the line where I'm stitching. You need to have an overlap of at least 1/4 inch. Yeah. And then we're going to do, so that's our first piece, A1, and then we're going on to A2. So I just want to position this so that is a 1/4 inch over that sewn line. So I'm doing the fabric on the right side because I'm stitching on the wrong side. And because I'm sewing down here, we're wanting to cover that area.
Yeah. So there's something for it to attach.
Yeah, so there's something to attach.
That's where you could start to go a bit awry if you're not concentrating.
Yeah, now if you're following this pattern and you haven't done paper piecing before, I would suggest cutting your pieces slightly larger. Because when you fold this back, you literally are covering that area.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar with it or you haven't done it before, just make it slightly bigger. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but I would just suggest that you make it ever so slightly bigger, so that you're covering.
If you're working with fat quarters anyway, you've got enough.
Yes,
there's enough. Don't make your life more difficult than it needs to be.
It's the plain fabric anyway, so you don't need to worry about it too much.
This is from the book, so you can just see this in the fat quarter book. The pattern, the templates are in the book, but the pattern's in here too. So just talking you through the process of this foundation paper piecing if you've not done it before. But you can just photocopy that, like Lucy said, and just repeat it, so you've got enough.
You can piece these blocks as well. You don't have to foundation paper piece this. So if you're, a confident quilter and you know what you're doing, just go ahead and piece them.
And just do it.
You've got the templates for the triangles, so that's going to be your centre part. You need to add a 1/4 inch, and then cut your triangles, add a 1/4 inch all the way around, and you can just piece it traditionally. You don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to foundation paper piece.
So you use the ruler? The add a 1/4 inch?
Yeah, I use. Yeah, you can use that to add a 1/4 inch to that template and just do it that way and piece it that way. So
depends, tailored to what you know.
It depends what you want to do. If foundation paper piecing just horrifies you, just piece it traditionally. There's no reason not to. Foundation paper piecing gives you added accuracy.
Okay.
And so it makes completing these and getting these points really, really simple. But if you're a confident quilter, you should have no problem piecing that. So to foundation paper piece, I'm just using the regular normal foot on our machine. And then, so I'm just checking that because I think I just moved it.
Do you change the stitch length as well for this?
Yes. So I'm just using the regular foot and then I'm going to change the stitch length without catching my fabric underneath. I definitely need coffee now. So you can, and what I tend to do a lot, and probably why I'm faffing about, is you can glue this to the paper as well, because that just helps.
Stable.
So I'm going to put that back. That was on the same setting. So just needle in the middle, regular foot, and then I'm putting my feed dogs up.
Because they were down
because I've been free motion quilting. So, okay. So they'll pop up once I start sewing. And then I like to foundation paper piece on a stitch length of 1.5. I find that 1 is too small, and any bigger and the paper doesn't perforate.
So it makes it hard to...
So 1.5 is my personal preference. So you can go, either side of that slightly is fine, but you don't want too big of stitches because it makes removing the papers
tricky,
really difficult.
I love pulling the paper out.
So
satisfying.
I love pulling paper out. Loads of people really hate it, but I really enjoy it. Yeah. In times when I'm in a hurry, I might enrol my children to help do it for me.
It's a really fun job where you just get to pull out paper from.
So you can see there. So we've got that stitch, and then when we fold that back, the important bit is that it's covering that paper.
Yes.
So that's how it's going to be. But before we do that, we don't need to trim it because I've done it.
Well, you've trimmed the...
I already sort
trimmed,
of did it to a 1/4 inch, but we could check or we could pretend. So I use the 1/4 inch ruler just to check that is 1/4 inch. I'll need to trim on the other side now.
So this 1 second, if someone hadn't seen this,
yes.
what is this?
So an add a 1/4 ruler is brilliant for foundation paper piecing, which I'll demo in a second when I've sewn this second bit. You can use it to add to a like we were just saying, to add a 1/4 inch to a template as well. But the advantage of the 1/4 inch ruler is that it has a little ridge on it. That means it just butts up against your stitches so that you can trim a 1/4 inch without measuring anything.
Without having to do...
Yeah, so now you can see...
So we're just going to show these, sorry to interrupt you, we're just going to show these rulers. So there are different options size-wise. So, you know, for a smaller little foundation paper piecing, this is probably a perfect.
Yes.
So this is your smallest one, and that's the one on your screens just now. So that's 15 centimetres. You can see here, I don't know if I turn it on its side, that's where you can see, this is what you butt it up against, don't you? So you push that.
Yeah.
Did you want to just...
Yeah, I'll do
show
it
on
now.
there?
So
Just
you
get
need
the
to make
larger
sure, so I've just sewn that triangle on there, because that's the A3, but you need to make sure that your paper's out of the way, because you still need the paper on at this point. And then you just use that little ridge to butt it up against your stitches, and then you just trim away the extra seam allowance, so you know that you've got a perfect 1/4 inch from where you've sewn.
And then this is exactly the same, just a bigger version.
Yes.
It's exactly, so, you know, you've still got that lip, if you like, that you can push it up against.
Yeah.
Like that. So this is the 30 centimetre one that's on your screens now. GAEQ 83. That one's $15.95. And then there's also one that has both of them in. So if you wanted the 15 centimetre and 30 centimetre one, both of them in one pack, and then you can also buy that as an option, but that one will come up on your screens in a minute. So it's an easy way of doing it without having to remeasure, isn't it?
I have the longer one because I thought, well, what do I need a smaller one for as well?
Because you could just use it.
Actually, it would be quite handy to have the smaller one.
Well,
Because
for
a lot
that,
of what
it's
I'm
fiddly.
doing, a lot of what I do is quite
That's
fiddly.
these two.
So I sort of wish I might have just buy that one separately.
Everything today, like we have to add it to your
Yeah, I do wish I bought
basket.
them together though.
As a
I'll
pack.
just say.
So 15 centimetres, 30 centimetres, VDEQ 40. You get both of those there with that lip on the side, so you can just butt that up against to add your 1/4 inch. And that one's $24.95.
I'm just giving that a quick press.
Oh, we're swapping.
Sorry.
That's all right. We're doing a bit of dancing today, aren't we?
We love dancing.
We love it.
So, so you need to do that another 15 times.
Yes.
To get your crosses. So it's just literally just sewing those two triangles onto the back of that. You need to trim your seams, and then you want to square this up.
Yeah.
So just using my ruler and rotary cutter, just take away that extra fabric.
So you know you've got to do 15 of these. Did you find once you've done 1 or 2 that you could get into a rhythm of it and do it fairly quickly, or was it still quite time consuming?
It's a little bit time consuming, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
It's not a really quick way of doing it. No, but if you want to have that precision that you only get from foundation paper piecing, so
then you have to
do it that way. But if you're not too worried about your points being perfect, you can, or you might be proficient and can do it by piecing it. But it's not, you know, I mean, we've been talking in between and, you know, you can sew these up relatively quickly, but it still does take some time. So you just keep going with that and
build them up,
build them all up, and then sew them together. I do just want to very quickly do another one so that I can show you how to put them together.
That's fine.
Yes, if that's okay. So I might just do a blue one. Just mix it up a little bit. So it's just exactly the same template. I tend to put my fabric, I mean, everybody will come up with their own method of remembering it in your head. of which way things go.
Yeah.
But it's always the wrong sides
Wrong to wrong.
together. So that's going to be the right side, and that's the sewing side. So the wrong sides are
So the print is
together.
facing you. That's
Yeah.
what I would remember, I think.
Yes, and then I need to cut another one of those because
Okay.
I didn't do it.
So you're using this rotating cutting mat as well?
Yeah, it's brilliant for trimming. That's actually, it actually is like...
You can just turn it around.
Yeah. It's
I always say this is
life-changing
like a
when you're
lazy
doing a lot of...
Susan.
Yeah, I know, I love it. When you're doing a lot of trimming and things, it
do a
really
bit,
does make a
turn it
huge
around.
difference. And I just sit this next to my sewing machine and,
Well,
you know, I
rather
can
than
trim
you
blocks
having
as
to
I
get
go.
up or to move a whole thing like that, or to move all... If you've laid all your fabric out as well, you can just turn it on an angle, can't you, and cut.
And I do a lot of things where you do two cuts, so you don't want to move, you know,
Twice.
It's
You'd have to move,
nicer
yeah.
to be able to move the mat.
Do you know where this is actually really useful as well? You know that Stripology ruler that we had, the
Yes.
Creative Grids one? If you
Yeah.
do strips and then you wanted to do, maybe make squares out of that and turn it,
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can
really,
do it like that.
Rather
yeah.
than having to pick up the ruler, pick up your fabric, you could just put it all on a rotating cutting mat and just move it around.
So again, because you've got the teeny tiny stitches, I don't tend to, sometimes I do backstitch just out of habit, but you don't really need to when you're foundation paper piecing because the stitches are so small that it will hold it together. I need the yellow one.
The yellow, this one.
I mean,
full
you
one.
can, look, you can, you know, you can trim it with a regular ruler. You can do that. But just to say, you know, you don't even have to think about it. I'm not looking at it. I just know that that's a quarter of an inch. If you're doing a lot of foundation paper piecing, this definitely does make a difference. Yeah, very useful. I'm just checking I did that right and I didn't cut my paper off. I didn't. So then again, another thing to be mindful of is you don't want this fabric falling out of the way when you're sewing this one. So that is why I tend to use a glue stick just to hold that piece of fabric in place. But you could pin as well. Or just be mindful of it when you're sewing. You might just want to move that out of the way. Another good tip is, for something like this, to be sure that you're going to cover that piece there, is to line up those
Points.
the corner. Yeah, line up the points visually so that you can see that that's going to be going... Let me not pressed it. So you can see that those 2 points are going in the same direction so that you know when you flip that one back, you know, it's lined up with the corners.
You can follow that as your guide.
Exactly.
I'm really impressed that not only did you do all of these, but then you also thought about which way the arrows of the fabric were facing on the on this finished cover
I
here.
know, that's what us fabric geeks like.
These
like
roll
to
out
do.
and these roll in. That's so well thought out.
But it is funny things like that, that visually, the more you quilt, you realise the difference that those small things
make to the final.
So whereas you might not actually notice, but that is going to be drawing your eye in or out or
into
around
the point of the cross or
in
out,
a way
or,
that you wouldn't know it was doing it. So I've had, you know, it's coming in here.
Yeah.
And then it will go up.
Your eyes are drawn to.
Yeah, this is going up, this is going down. It's creating movement in the quilt. Whereas if they were all going the same direction, it's just a different, you know, it's a different look. So it's fun playing around with patterns in fabric like that. That's what I live for.
Yeah, well, but the thing is as well, there's just so many. It's just another dimension, isn't it? It's another layer. It's another thing that you can add and think about. And
absolutely. So I'm just giving this a press, but I'm just pressing it from the front and getting that nice and neat. And then again, we have to trim it off. So when you do get more comfortable, I mean, I'm following the directions that are in the book. So the cut measurements are what I'm using. But, you know, as you get more confident, you can cut smaller pieces when you're foundation paper piecing, so you wouldn't necessarily have this waste from this
but
technique.
It is still, it's not huge
No,
amounts,
not
at all.
No, not at all. But you can, you know...
I never stand on this side. It's very strange.
Do you want to sew a little bit?
Just to have a swap.
So, again, using... Oh, I should rotate it, really, shouldn't I, for that bit? That was a bit... Although I would be elbowing you. So that's that bit.
So once we've got these trimmed, you can start to look at sort of assembling them, can't
Yeah,
you?
so you...
Why you just... Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, that's fine. Yeah, you leaving the papers on at this point in this method for this. It depends on the pattern. For some, you might need to take the papers away and then put the sections together. But she's recommended, so you can see what I mean about the arrows, you know.
Yeah.
The way I've cut that one there, they're going that way, so it's totally different again. Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
Just before you move on to that next stage, I'm just going to look at those bundles, and then, so I don't know if you want to do another. We don't even need to do another one of those.
No.
I'll leave you.
I'll
you just take a minute.
Just take a minute.
Just chill. So let's look at these two different bundle options that we've got for this sewing machine cover this morning. So both of them come with, I just felt like I was going to lean on here. Both of them come with a fat quarter pack, a 12-piece fat quarter pack from Amy Butler. And then they also come with a metre of the linear texture fabric, half a metre of a spectrum solid, your wadding and your thread. So the two different options, the one that we're working with is this fat quarter bundle. So really lovely, this is from the Soulmate collection. These are new to Sewing Quarter. We've not had them in, well, I've never seen them before. So you can just see these really gorgeous different patterns. This was that poplin that Lucy was saying about. So it has a really silky feel to it. It's a slightly tighter weave, so it's a really lovely fabric to work with. All of those different designs. Also got a nice drape to it as well. So you can see this arrow one that we're working with at the moment in our foundation paper piecing. You've got it in the pink colourway there as well. Also you've got your florals. So that's the bundle there to make the sewing machine cover. With your solids, your linear fabric, a metre of that, half a metre of your solid, your wadding and your thread. QVGC58 is your item number for that one. That is $69.45. But we also have another bundle option with fat quarters. So I'll show you the other colourway of this. This is the one where Lucy was saying about where they've got the browns just right in terms of the colour palette of this, and that quite often browns are a bit hit and miss. These are sort of have a bronzy tone to them, so they're really sort of lovely colour options. So you've got that bottom one there, incorporating that brown, working really well with your pinks and turquoises. Then introducing some corals. Here you can see that brown in that almost William Morris style with that lovely sort of all that swirly movement coming through the fabric there. And you've also got your tiny little triangles. That's your bundle there on your screen. So you've got 12 pieces in that fat quarter bundle. Your wadding, again, your linear texture, your solid and your thread, BSGC25. That one's slightly more affordable, $64.45. Now, we also have a charm pack and a jelly roll in this Soulmate collection. So because these are new, we've got some different options for you depending on perhaps if you like the designs and you want to incorporate them into a different project. Maybe if you wanted to use the charm packs for that quilting cushion we were doing in the 10 o'clock show. These just give you the freedom to have the fabric in a different pre-cut. So the charm pack, this is a 42-piece charm pack with your 5-inch squares. Again, incorporating all those designs that we've started to see there, but I'll show you a couple more so you get an idea of what's inside. We've seen quite a lot of these already this morning. And then you've also got the design roll. So you've got this one here. We've not seen this one. This is new. So again, it's from that Soulmate collection. You can see all of those gorgeous... I love it when they're wrapped up like this, but I don't want to undo it because it will go everywhere. So you've got all of these lovely fabrics all wrapped beautifully in this nice chunky design roll from Amy Butler. Let's just check how many pieces are in that. It's a 40-piece design roll, this one. I'm just seeing all of those patterns again. That same collection, but with all of your pre-cut strips ready for you to use. IWRW94, that one's $49.95. So whether you want fat quarters in either of the colour options, charm packs, or your design roller, you've got all different options for that Amy Butler Soulmate collection. Just lots of bright colours, lots of florals, but also some nice little ditzy detail too. So we're doing the sewing machine cover with Lucy. Let's have a look and just carry back on with that. So you can see it on your screen there, that's when it's hanging over the machine. We're looking at those, what do you call them, the X's at the bottom?
Yes,
or crosses.
Yeah, crosses or
We're
X's.
just looking at those crosses at the moment, how we assembled those.
So in the pattern there, foundation paper piece, so I've done 2 of the smaller blocks, and I've just put these together, so right sides together.
Okay.
And then we're going to sew these together. You can go all the way down this line, you don't have to stop and start. But just a little tip, sometimes when you're doing this and you can't see the line on the back, it's sort of a bit panicky and you sort of think, oh, what am I
Is it still lining up?
Exactly. So you can just put a pin through, so long as you've got, you know, it's gone through one corner and out the other corner.
Yeah, you know,
you've lined it up properly. So unless you mess about with it like me. So long as it's like that, you know that that's going to be lined up. So then I'm holding onto it, take it over to the machine, take those pins out, and I know that that's going to be in the correct position there. And then I can just sew along the line, and that's going to give me, she says, yes.
Yes.
There's always that moment.
Sheer panic of what if it wasn't right.
Where you get those perfect points, so where those points are meeting there.
So this is why foundation paper piecing gives you that precision.
Yes.
It gives, you know, you're going to get those lines really sharp and professional.
Yeah, there's you know, it's completely accurate. So long as you've lined up like I've just done with the pins, you know, so long as you've got those 2 sections meeting.
Yeah, in the right place.
Perfect. So you could even, you know, if you think about if you do it the other way.
Or you could do like diamonds.
Yes.
Yeah, you
so
could
you can use these templates to make you know, make other things as well. So that's a half section. So then you'd repeat it, and then you put the two rows together in the same way that I've just put those
so then
together.
you can just replicate that all the way across.
So you just do that a few times.
Just a few times, 16.
Just a few times. And then you've got
those.
the crosses there. But it is a fun thing to do, and it's so satisfying when that's
when it all
together.
comes together.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. And that's, you know, I want to keep that on my machine because it looks so beautiful.
Yeah, because it did take some time, you know, you invested yourself into it.
But that's what's, that's what's lovely is having those different techniques to create different looks. So then the next row, I already said that's just rectangles, and you're just sewing them together on the shorter side.
But you fussy cut
and then
as
you're
well,
doing
so
rows.
that you had those.
Yeah, I fussy cut just to get those little birds because it's such a nice detail. But equally, you could pick out, you know, one of the florals and have that be in the centre of each one.
You could alternate different.
Yeah, have fun with fussy cutting.
Yes.
So then we're moving on to the sort of zigzag.
I'm just going to show that.
So I used 4 different fabrics to create that row of the zigzag.
Yeah.
And almost because I've done it in the different colours, it looks more sort of like a chevron, like an arrow or something than it does.
With these pointing.
Yeah, than it does a zigzag. But hey,
do you know what that makes me think? It's telling you you've got to lift it off. It's like an arrow up.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You're taking this
Take me off,
this
sew
way.
with me, take me off and do some stitches. But that's what it is, the pattern she created, actually these are all stitches. So this is meant to be like stitches, this is cross stitch, and this is your zigzag stitch.
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it. Yeah. I've just messed it up by playing around with the colour. But it just gives a different look, I think. So in the book, I don't know that you'll be able to see, but there is a seam that runs along here. So this is made up of, again, 16 blocks of 2.5-inch squares. So each of those is actually a block. Can you see? And then that's a block.
Within, so these are your
and that's
sort of
a
squares.
block, and that's a block, so they're squares. There is another way of doing this, using a rectangle and then doing the flipping over that we did in the last hour.
Yeah.
You would just flip the corners, and that would be a quicker way.
Oh, yes, yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
A quicker way of doing it, but no, we did
it a different way.
We did it a different way. And this book really is designed for people with some sewing experience. So there are things in the book where it will say, so for example, with this row, it says make half square triangles that finish at 2.5 inches.
Yeah.
So if you weren't familiar with what a half square triangle was,
you would
you know,
need
you'd need to look it up. So there are some things that it covers in the book, but there are other things that it assumes that you know.
You might already have some prior knowledge.
Yeah. So this book really is for people that sew.
In my opinion. Yeah. I just picked out some projects that I really liked. This is all utilising your fat quarter. So there were like party hats here. It's divided into 6 chapters. So this one is a babies and children chapter. And there are some nice projects in there. And I liked that too, a nice little fat quarter baby dress. But there are different, there's a bags chapter. Oh, I'm a sucker for bags. I really like that with the detail on the side here. That sort of ruche detail. Yeah, they're all different ones coming through. And you've got, this was a pillow cover.
So I made that one in a different show.
I
loved doing that. It was so fun. That was a technique I'd not, really done before. Yeah.
And then there's home decor. I like this footstool. I think there was a bigger picture of this. Let me just open. There it is. For like a dressing table or something. I think that was really lovely.
Oh, yes, that's beautiful.
But all of them telling you how many fat quarters you need, then talking you through all of your instructions in a step-by-step way. And again, you've got those templates at the back, which you can photocopy and use to create them. Let's carry on then with this.
I like that lollipop one as well.
The lollipop?
Yeah, there's a lollipop. I've just seen the template for it, but there's a
lollipop.
lollipop.
While you do this.
Yeah, so to create the half square triangles, I did the technique, which I have done a few times, but it's just so quick that it's my preferred method of doing it. So I'm going to do 4 at a time, half square triangles, using 2 squares, which I believe I cut these at 4.5 inches, which is slightly bigger than I need.
They look just smaller than a charm pack, which is 5 inches, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's, I just do that so that I can trim them down later, because I'd rather have that be the accurate bit, you know, once I've...
There's no point doing it twice.
Yeah, exactly. No. So for this, you need your 1/4 inch foot. So I'm just take off the normal one, and then use 1/4 inch foot. You can use the normal foot and just put it on the 1/4 inch setting, but I'm so used to using the 1/4 inch foot that I prefer to do it.
So that 1/4 inch foot, we had a question about that actually. Who was that from? Producer Hannah, from Anne. Morning, Anne. What was the question? Oh, she's just going to get it up. Here we go. Da, 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 da. So the 1/4 inch foot that the machine comes with, if we can just see that, that's what's the setup for it? How do you put that on? Which is what you just did.
So I just switched because I was using my normal foot for the foundation paper piecing. So I just took the foot off. There's just it's just this little black lever at the back. You just push it. It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Just literally push it in and the foot will drop off. And then...
Do you have to change the position of the needle at all? Or?
Yes. With this machine, you need to change the position of the needle because the the width that it can cover is 9 millimetres. So the needle position in the middle is slightly different, but it has a setting. So it's just in mode. What I say, I just do it. I don't even need to look anymore. I just press 0.6 and it moves it over to the right, and that's your precise quarter of an inch.
Yeah.
So
you know that's
Angela, for example, doesn't use a 1/4 inch foot because she can just move her needle over, and that's
enough for her to know where it is.
Yeah, she just uses the edges of the edge of the regular foot, and that's her 1/4 inch foot. I learned patchwork using a 1/4 inch foot, so I'm so used to having that guide there. I can do it without. I do it as well now. I've got this machine. I can do it with the normal foot as well, but I still prefer using my 1/4 inch foot because it is
just
a
second nature.
Habit.
Yes,
whatever it is. So I like using the 1/4 inch foot. So I'm just going to sew all the way around the edges of these squares. And I'm going to pivot at the corner. So when I get to, I can increase my stitch length slightly. When I get to near to the corner, there, I can just lift the foot and pivot so that I'm coming back down.
Okay.
If you go over, don't worry about it. Just go back to a point where,
You can
so
pick
long
it
as
back
this line is going to be straight, you've got a little bit of room for moving around.
I hope that answered the question, Anne, about the 1/4 inch foot.
See, I've just done it there.
Just pivot.
I've just got a
Go
bit
bit
eager.
further.
So just go back. And I still like to hand crank as well. That's just habit.
This is the Elna 680 machine that we've been using all morning. So if you weren't watching this morning at 8 o'clock, Lucy was talking through. This is actually the machine that she has at home, and all of the features that you love about it, and that it is an investment, and it is a scary moment to upgrade from a basic machine when you're spending. It's a lot of money, isn't it? And you want something. You want to be sure. You had a wish list.
I had a wish list,
and you want to make sure that it's going to fulfil those.
Absolutely, and does all those things. And then there's funny things that I thought I wouldn't like that I really like. So like the reverse button.
Yeah.
I was so used to it sort of being over here, and I thought, oh, do I like, and you just get used to it so quickly. And then...
So much so that now that might become a requirement that you would want it to be.
But it would, because you realise how much easier those things... it makes sewing that much easier. It makes it that much more enjoyable. You can get more done because all of those things are just so quick. So like the cutting, I just press a button and it's done, rather than, and not that that's a hard thing.
No.
But when you're sewing a lot, it's all those little things add up, and I do get things done more quickly because I have this machine.
It's almost intuitive to
use.
Yeah.
It is intuitive, and it's more enjoyable because all the things I didn't like about I had to do on my other machine just were time consuming and fiddly, and it just, so when I go back now to
do you still have it, the other
regular machine? I don't. I gave it to my mum. My mum can use it, and it's a fine machine. It's a lovely machine. There's nothing wrong with it. But if I go back, so like if I'm teaching classes, and obviously it's all different kinds of machines, and I use one that's at the same level that I had before, I'm like, oh, I've got to do this, and the needle down is a huge thing for me, a huge thing when I'm piecing. I didn't talk about this earlier. And that was one of the things that was on my list. So the fact that I can sew, I'll just show you really quickly. The other thing is I can sew with the needle up. I don't need to move it down to start off with.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you would normally have to do. So this is set with the needle down. So it means when I stop, it stops with the needle down. So when I'm doing corners, I can just lift and pivot, and I'm not having to manually put the needle down. Now that's only one little movement, and it's not a really big deal. But when you're doing it a lot, or if you're quilting and you're turning corners, I'm doing walking foot quilting and I'm turning corners, for me to have to manually adjust it and not be able to stop with the needle down, it's just a bit more awkward, and this just makes it so quick and easy. So I've sewn around all of the edges, and then I'm going to cut this up to make my half square triangles. So I do one cut.
Also, there was just one other thing about the machine. Oh, so if you have an Elna machine, they have a help team that they can help you out with any questions that you might have. So if there's things or questions or queries that you're not sure about, they're really helpful. Elna are actually our home brand. They're the ones. All of our machines that we use on the show are from Elna. You can contact them directly about any of those sort of little queries or issues that you might have.
Yeah, they are really helpful. I actually had a question about, because I sew so much, I buy cones of thread. I only use spools for like certain colour or, whatever, but when I'm piecing, I piece off a cone of thread. And because this has, the spool lies horizontally rather than vertically, I thought, how am I going to use the cone of thread? I didn't know if I could use it in the machine, because it won't fit in the machine.
No, too bulky.
But you can get an addition to this machine that goes on these points here at the back of the machine, or you can buy one of those freestanding. So I bought a freestanding cone holder, and I still can use the cone in my machine, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's just more cost effective because I'm doing so much
you
sewing.
need to use those bigger,
Yes. So
a minute.
Okay, in a minute. So then I would trim these down. I would press them, obviously. And then I would trim it down to 2.5 inches. So when I'm trimming, so you can see that's only a fraction that I'm trimming away there. So there's very little waste from creating half square triangles using this method. Trim those all off to 2.5 inches, and then you put them together. So to create the stitch, sort of look, these have all been trimmed in
real life.
In real life. And then you just put your blocks together like that to create
those chevrons.
And then you just keep going with that, and you can do it with the same fabric or with different, and that's, you end up with this sort of zigzag. But these are really fun as well, you know, you can put that on the border of a quilt or something.
Yeah,
have a zigzag going all the way around the corner of the quilt, the border of the quilt.
Sort of facing in like a like W's all the way around your.
Yes, that would look really pretty. So that's how you do that, and then it's literally just a fat quarter for the reverse, and you line it, and you just treat it as though it's a quilt. The ties, you just fold, and
what's that, binding?
Yeah, you fold it in on itself. And then you just trim the ends and knot, and you just attach those when you're sewing on the binding.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, it's perfect. All explained in the book anyway. You're taking this with you. Am I right in thinking you're taking this? She's taking this with her. She can't let me. Come on, you must be allowed.
But it is very pretty. It is very, very pretty. And this will, you know, it's just because it's not got sides on. It will fit on any machine. And even in the book, this was just hanging. You know, hanging down slightly, and it looks really pretty. So it's a lovely project to do.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for today. It's been a marathon.
I know.
You made it. It's great. It definitely is time for you to have a coffee. Yeah. I've got to recut those fabrics, but I'll see you in a second.
I've had a lot of fun. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. So we've just been looking at those different Amy Butler fabrics this morning from the Soulmate collection. We've got 2 different bundle options for that sewing machine cover. The first one, this is the one we've been working with. So you're getting 12 fat quarters, this gorgeous sort of poplin cotton. So it's a nice silky cotton, really lovely, bright, vivid patterns and designs. Feels a bit like a lawn. In fact, Lucy thought it might be lawn when she first felt it, but it isn't. It is poplin. And then that also comes with your linear texture fabric and your solid and some thread as well, and plus all of your wadding. So everything there to make that sewing machine cover. Then you also have another option, a different colourway. So again, it's from Amy Butler, but you've got more bronzes and browns in this one with all of your 12 fat quarters, some lovely aquas and creams. This is the geometric machine bundle. BSGC25 for this one. Again, with your cross-hatched linear texture fabric and your solid, your wadding and your thread. Then if you love the Soulmate collection and perhaps you want it in a different pre-cut, we've got it today. This is brand new as a jelly roll option. So you've got 40 pieces in here with all of those strips pre-cut for you. All of those different patterns you can see just working round. I love these. They're so, look at that spiral of colour, like a whole pinwheel of colour. IWRW94 is your item number for that one. And that's $49.95. Now, in all of today's show, we've seen the Elna 680 being used. Lucy has this as her machine at home. It's the one that she uses. It's a big step and an investment to buy a machine like that. But there are so many features on there, as you can see on the screen. 170 different stitches, a computerized screen, a really lovely sort of light on there, automatic tension, lots of storage options, a really some extra space there if you're working on a bigger quilt. VKJE90 is your item number for that. Now, we have an announcement. This is a massive announcement. We've saved it right till the end of the show to tell you today. Sewing Quarter, tomorrow, we have our first ever sale. We're having a clearance event. We've never had one before. Our fabric sale starts tonight at midnight on the website, and it's on TV from 8 a.m. in the morning. You're going to want to be here at 8 o'clock with John Scott. It's on for 4 hours. It's going to be like a really quick fire sort of auction, going through all of the different fabrics that we've got in the sale, where you can set massive savings of up to 50%. So it's up to a discount of 50%. And the important thing tomorrow is going to be moving quick. So you need to remember to check out your baskets immediately. If you're you're only going to be charged one lot of postage and packaging, as you always are. So, because the quantity is limited on this stock, if you've got something in your basket, you're going to want to check it out quickly, and then you can always go back and add something else in to avoid missing out. Because that limited stock and the huge discount, it's likely that stock's going to fly out tomorrow. So you can start at midnight on the website, but 8 o'clock tomorrow with John, anything you want to add to your basket, well, you can probably tell it's going to be fast and furious. We're very excited. So I hope you've had a lovely morning with me and Lucy here at Sewing Quarter this morning, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Join us on Facebook. Simply search for the Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love. Follow us on Instagram. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to get our latest posts.
There are 2 days till Christmas, and prepare to expand your stash with festive fabric finds from our Tash. Join us for Christmas in July, July the 21st to the 25th.